In here. What's good, yo? Can you hear me? Can you see me? I see some people in the chat. I can always count on Pam. Pam, here I am. KM to AM on the fan. Oh, I just messed it up. That one didn't rhyme. AM, AN, I just messed it up. Oh, man. KM to AM. You already know. What up? What up? Referee 583, what up? Levi, what up? Hector, we in here. Freshly back from the stadium, boy. I let my pins shake on them. Setting off the metal detector in the stadium, you heard? Come through shining. That was the first night game for me this year. So that was big. That was a big win. The Mets just won. We'll talk about the Mets at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it, man. Chat, send questions, thoughts. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Is this not plugged in? Hold on, I'm about to plug this in. All right, hold on. Plug this in over here. Hey. Yeah. The Yankees win. It was a good W. Solo shots. The Bronx Bombers. I'll take it. Good enough for me. Good enough for me. On the Instagram. What the hell? What the helly? What the hell? That shit's catchy. Delete. I forgot that I posted what I posted on my Instagram story. I'm laughing at something stupid. Mets post game. Yo, is my new open in there? Okay, I'm sure. All right, yeah, we got to play that one. I'll come in there. Hold on. No. All right, showtime. I was about to go tell Paulie something. All right. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Yup.
It's KM to AM WFAN.
Yeah, let's get it, New York. Freshly back from the BX. My first night game. Shout out to you if you were out there. Over 42,000 in the Bronx to see the Bronx Bombers and the Torpedo Bats. Just like that, we're right back. I don't know the math on this, but if you'd like to win the series, winning the first game of the series probably increases your chances. The Yankees get a win. The Mets also just finished their game out at Target Field in Minnesota in the cold and rain and wind, and the Mets defeat the Twins 5-1. And yeah, the New York Yankees win 4-1. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about all the things, and we could talk about some things from the weekend and some things to come. We've got playoffs. We've got NFL draft. We've got time tonight, KM to AM till 2 a.m. on the fan. Dial 888-808-1019 if you'd like to get down. I wanted to get down. I hadn't gone to a game since the first two games of this Yankees season, and they were great. Opening day, and then the historic Saturday game with 20 runs scored and 9 homers. I got sick the 1 week, and then I'm just not going out there in the rain and the cold. I don't know. I've aged out of that. I'm going when it's a nice enough night like it was tonight. And the Yankees were nice enough to do two things: pitch well and hit well. And if you were in attendance and you saw C is for Cookie, that's good enough for me. Carlos Carrasco. Let's start with the savvy vet, Carlos Carrasco. After his last performance in Detroit, where he gave up a bunch of dingers, and that pretty much was the game. He's a veteran. I heard Boone talk about how he's got moxie. He knew he had to come out there tonight and hold it down in Yankee Stadium, right? Marcus Stroman is on the IL after a terrible performance on Friday. We're going to go back to that because I was listening to Evan talk about Aaron Boone today. And Saturday, I didn't get to fully unpack the whole thing. I thought that everybody was on the same page with how that game ended. Needed to end. We'll go back to Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday was the first game that I didn't watch a second of live, and I'm glad I didn't. It was my son's birthday. I was fully entrenched in a 2-year-old's birthday party, and I did not watch a second of that. For good reason, didn't have to watch how that series ended with the Giants and Carlos Rodon. Again, doesn't necessarily get it done. 888-808-1019. Carlos Carrasco had to get it done tonight as we open up this second series of this homestand with no rain, with no delay. The weather was perfectly fine. It's like 50, 60 degrees today, and then it did not get that cold. And Carlos Carrasco goes out there and says, listen, I'm a little bit older. I've been around the block, but I'm going to compete. I'm going to go at these guys. And he ends up with 4 strikeouts. He ends up only giving up that 1 hit and that 1 run. Bobby Witt Jr., who some weirdos have ranked as the number 2 player in Major League Baseball. Bobby Witt comes through and he gets him. But, man, I was impressed with Carlos Carrasco just holding it down. 5 innings is good enough. 5 innings of 1-hit ball, good enough. Bullpen's ready to go. You go right to Fernando Cruz control with that nasty stuff. Break him off a little bit of that nasty stuff, Nando. You love to see it. Swing and miss guy that we got for what? We traded Jose Trevino. Shout out to Trevi out there in Cincinnati, but good to have Fernando Cruz. And then you're able to go to Tim Hill. Shout out to Tim Hill, comes out to Nas. I didn't realize that in my first night game. Really getting to see the vibes. And Weavy Wonder, Luke Weaver, with the Star Wars theme. First time seeing the stadium react to that. It was awesome, man. And then I had to get up out of there before Devin Williams took the mound. And not for nothing, part of me was like, I probably could have, I've been here with some time to spare. Part of me was like, maybe I don't want to see this live. Maybe I don't want to be in this atmosphere because there was a lot of people there. My sister was in town. Shout out to Taylor if she's listening. Probably not. Hopefully she's doing something else in the city. But my sister was with me. She wanted to see a game. And as we're walking around and it's filling up, I'm like, there's probably like 36, 37,000 out here. No, 42,648. And we dipped off at the end of the 8th inning. And I was like, I don't want to be in here if he struggles a bit, if it's a little bit adventurous and they start booing him, whatever. 1 hit, doesn't matter. He ends up walking a guy, giving up a hit, but ultimately getting those 3 outs and the save. And the pitching tonight, when you look at, what the Yankees just posted, a graphic of the pitching line. Amazing. You'll take that every time. 888, the number to dial. Now, let's talk about the hitting. Let's talk about the bats. Shout out to the Terror Squad, some of the homies. My boy Sean bet on Bobby Witt Jr. to homer And a couple of the guys tailed that, so they were excited about that. I didn't bet him the homer. I had him to triple. I couldn't bring myself to bet on the Royals. I didn't really bet much on this game. I used a free $10 bonus bet that I got on Bobby Witt to triple. But, he hit a line drive to left field, and he got that one. But the whole time I'm looking at Bobby Witt Jr., I'm like, now they're going to say he's better than Judge. And then I start thinking about Judge, and I'm like, Judge is so due. Judge is so due. There's so many guys with 6 homers in Major League Baseball. Judge is due. He's got a homer. Well, he had a couple Ks, but he had a couple singles as well. And it seemed like everybody else was due. Now, when I mentioned this list of players in Major League Baseball that are tied for 6 home runs, that includes Jazz Chisholm. And there's a lot of people that started to quit on Jazz. There's a lot of people that started to hate on Jazz because Jazz is Jazz. Right? They just can't let Jazz be him. And he'll get on Twitter, which I appreciate athletes that go and tweet and like give us that version of themselves digitally. And, he said some things about the torpedo bats and he struggled. And what I'll say about Jazz, I was having this conversation in the stadium. I'm like, bro is from the Bahamas. So people are crying about him posting that, he didn't want to play in the weather in Detroit. No one does. No one willingly wants to be out there in freezing cold, snowy temperatures or rain. It's not fun. But Jazz is fun. And he broke it open tonight. That home run that he parked off of Seth Lugo into the dugout just to get the tie, just to get the run back and tie the game, it kind of changed the atmosphere in that place. Like, okay, boom, Jazz is back. Jazz hits back-to-back home runs or back-to-back games with home runs. He's out of his slump a little bit. And it's good to see because then after that, those lefty bats in our lineup get going. And that's all we would need. Solo shots, homers. Trent Grisham follows up. And earlier today, we heard that Cody Bellinger was out of the lineup again. He's having a procedure done on his back. Okay. Having Trent Grisham play more, he's going to hit better. Trent Grisham, when he was here last year, people said he's going to bat under 200. Trent Grisham is batting 343. Trent Grisham is hitting homers. Trent Grisham has 4 homers on the season, getting an opportunity to play more, getting more at-bats. You love to see it. And he cranks one. And so you're like, all right, here we go. In that 5th inning, right, after we see Carlos Carrasco, job done, job well done. C is for Cookie, that's good enough for me, Carlos. We see Carlos Carrasco go out there and throw 79 pitches, a 1-hit ball. And okay, the one of the best players in the game gets you. Trent Grisham homers. Ben Arroz, Ben Rice, that ball was cooked again. Let's talk about Ben Rice. He's got 5 homers. Ben Rice is a guy that, when you're looking at that number 22 rounding the bases, it's good to have a young guy like this. He can lead off. He's been DHing. He's been great for the Yankees this year. And then, Austin Wells was due as well. It was a fun night at the ballpark, especially that 5th inning. Everybody just getting into it. And those guys absolutely teeing off on Seth Lugo. And that was the game. 888-808-1019. Now, the Mets are rolling. The Mets just got their 11th win tonight. The Mets went out there to Sacramento and faced the dialed-in Luis Severino. And that game got a little wacky late, but they did enough to win the series. And now you're looking at this Mets team going into cold, drizzly Minnesota. Like, okay, what are we going to get? And what are we going to get out of certain guys? And I'll start here with Juan Soto because there was an article on it. I'm not paying for the New York Post, so maybe let me go back to Twitter and see if anybody sent me the screenshots. Oh, yeah. Dre, Javi, I see these guys are on it, so during the break, I'll be able to read it. But in my notes earlier as I was combing through things, I'm like, what is this about? Juan Soto opens up to the Post about pitcher's new approach without the best hitter in baseball behind him. Oh, all right. So as much as y'all want to let it go, as much as y'all want people to move on, I think I'm pretty consistent when I'm telling you this Juan Soto Yankee stuff. This Juan Soto Judge stuff, this Yankee fans versus Juan Soto. That's another thing I heard today. Oh, there was an F. Juan Soto shirt in the broadcast. Yeah, they're selling them at the stadium. I don't know exactly who. It's not Ball Vinny, but they're selling F. Juan Soto shirts at Yankee Stadium. You should have known that was coming. As soon as the chants broke out, somebody's like, oh, Eureka. Remember, fire Cashman. That became a shirt. And now the new shirt, there was an F. Altuve shirt. Now there's a F. Juan Soto shirt. But like we've just begun with the back and forth. What I'll say about Juan Soto is I've been pretty consistent about this. I've been betting him. I didn't bet him tonight. I'm popped. I just had a 2-year-old birthday. I don't have any money to spend. I've been betting him to homer. I'm like, this guy is due. He's going to post. He's going to come through. And as I was listening to Mets Radio 880 during the Yankee game, and I think it was Acuna who doubled, and Juan Soto ends the inning popping up, I go to the X Twitter app because in real time you can get reactions from fans, and people were killing Juan Soto, quitting on Juan Soto, saying that, Steve Cohen should go back and return him, saying this guy's going to be I'm like, we are so early in this season. This is like the third week of the season. And what does Juan Soto do? He comes through later. Of course, Pete Alonso posts early. And speaking of the post, yeah, the early back page says life's a pitch with a picture of Juan Soto and then a small picture of Aaron Judge. And it says scuffling Soto admits it's not the same without the best hitter in baseball behind him. I'm like, I got to read this. Did Juan Soto actually go out there and say that? And what a nod to Judge, Captain America, who will be playing in the 2026 World Baseball Classic. We'll talk about that too. 888-808-1019. I saw our very own Evan Roberts tweet out, never want to see Soto attempt a bunt in a spot like this ever again. I'm not watching the game. I'm listening to the game. Why? He's a baseball player. And we know he's a prolific hitter and one of the greatest hitters we've ever seen. He shows bunt all the time. He toys with the opposing pitcher. It's a game. You don't want to see him attempt a bunt. Well, maybe he needs to attempt a bunt and maybe lay down a bunt to get going. I just feel like we are putting so much of a microscope on a player that we know what he is. We know what he is. He's going to come through, and it's still cold as I'm seeing him out there in a hoodie. But what do I know? I just watched every single at-bat he had for the Yankees last year. I just think he's going to have weeks where he's hitting multiple home runs. He's going to have games where he hits 2 home runs. Seen him hit 3 in a game. Like, you just got to wait and be patient. And what are you bugging out for? You have 11 wins. What are you bugging out for? You're in first place. I don't understand. Like having Juan Soto on your team, he's here for the next decade and a half. You're going to get a large sample size on the guy. But there's my Juan Soto rant. I'm sure we'll take calls about it at 888-808-1019. If you want to get on Brett Beatty, who I also said coming to Sacramento and being in a minor league ballpark, that would awaken Brett Beatty some, and it did. All in all, Pete Alonso is having a magnificent start. Excuse me, I got allergies. I got to sneeze in here. I got to blow my nose in here. Pete Alonso is having a great start to a year where people wrote him off. People said he needs to take it or leave it with the contract. Pete Alonso has set himself up to opt out and have multiple teams coming in to drive that price up. And if the Mets are interested and want to match, which I think they probably should, is going to be a higher price than what they were offering last year. There will be no draft pick, right? No qualifying offer, no draft pick attached to Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is going to be an all-star again, it's looking like. And you can count on this guy. So shout out to the Mets fans that were backing Pete the whole time. Not you, Paulie. Shout out to the Mets fans that were like, no, that's our guy. Yeah, we understand how great Juan Soto is. But why get Juan Soto and not have Pete Alonso to hit behind him? And I'm sure Juan Soto in this New York Post article has no slight to Pete Alonso by bigging up Aaron Judge. But Pete goes out there tonight, has 2 hits, drives in the first run of the game. And Mark Vientos comes through as well. But then, Juan Soto tacks on the insurance. And maybe some Mets fans were able to just exhale because they saw the ball go out and say, okay, he's here. He's still Juan Soto. 888-808-1019. Okay, so we have an injury update on Jose Siri. Lay it on me.
He's got a fractured tibia. The MRI showed a fracture, so we got to get more information before we know He's going to be out, but he's going to be out for a while.
Okay. So a few games back, he came out of that game in Sacramento and was replaced by Tyrone. You better call Tyrone. Tyrone, you're going to be playing a lot, buddy. But, Siri is one of those guys that he's got so much speed. He gets on. You can expect him to come home. Now you don't have that guy, but it's not going to matter. Where I'm getting at with this Mets lineup is today, top of the order, Lindor a knock, Soto a knock, Homer 2 RBI, Alonso 2 knocks, RBI, good enough. Vientos finding it again. I know he's batting 138, but like Vientos showed you who he was last year. And as much as I just gave credit to Brett Beatty bouncing back, Luis Angel Acuna's got to be in there. He's just better. He's just a better watch. Just more positive things will happen with his athleticism. I know McNeil is working his way back, but he has 2 knocks tonight. This guy is just more of just looks like more of a major league player. Like he's already shown us signs that, he's going to be a pelotero out there. On the pitching side, Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes goes 5 innings, 2 hit ball, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. Is this what we can expect from Clay Holmes now? He's starting to look more like he looked in spring training. Solid. You go to Brazoban, Reed Garrett, Stanek, done. The measly Minnesota Twins, who they're never all healthy. And let's see, former Met Carlos Correa is struggling mightily. I mean, dodged one there, Mets fans. Carlos Correa is batting 153. John in the newsroom tipped me off to this, and I'm like, I'm not even paying attention to Carlos Correa until now. Because there's a lot of Mets fans and Yankee fans that were caping for Carlos Correa. We got to sign Correa. We got to sign Correa. No. Let him rot in Minnesota over there with the Twins. 888-808-1019. 1 run's not going to beat this lineup on many days. So we got to take a break here. The Yankees win 4-1. The Mets win 5-1. Plenty to do, plenty to talk about. Keith McPherson on the fan. Let's take this break, and then we'll get inside the 11 o'clock hour with your calls. BRB. I'll be right back. All right, yo. Quickly. Quickly here before we get back. Jazz is tied in Major League for 6 home runs in a game. Yeah, and I was about to pull up that list of players that are tied for 6 home runs. Jazz is there with Judge, Wilmer Flores, Tyler Soderstrom. Where is it? Fernando Tatis homered again today, so he's 1 away. He could tie it tonight if he homers again. Yeah, right here. I'll read this when we come back. Hey, Keith, good win. Let's go, Yanks. Happy belated to your son. Appreciate you, Mike. It was a good time. We were blessed. Judge is due. I would be betting on Judge to homer the next 2 days. Grisham was really good when he was in San Diego before Tatis broke out. Loved he went Yabo after a bunt attempt. Yeah, that's a great. I will give you credit for that. That's a great parallel with Juan Soto. And they knew they had Jackson Merrill coming. Facts. Yo, merch link available. KM to AM merch. In the chat. I don't know what side the chat is on. This side? Thank you. It was a good time. Just happy to get it done, you know. All right, now let me see if I can read this Juan Soto article. No slight to Alonso, more concerned about the team and his own numbers. Didn't say anything wrong, though. Judge is the best hitter in baseball. Soto said the team approach is more important than his own numbers. Everybody has got a role, and I feel as a team, we have got to attack pitchers as a team. Soto said we don't have to attack the pitchers as individuals. If they don't want to pitch to me, I just pass the baton and let Alonso do his thing. If they don't want to pitch to him, he should do the same thing. Sure. All right, let's see. Javi says, one thing is certain to Soto, he's not getting pitched the same as last season when he had Aaron Judge hitting behind him in the Yankees lineup. It's definitely different, Soto told the Post before the Mets faced the Twins. I had the best hitter in baseball hitting behind me. I was getting more attacked and more pitches in the strike zone, less intentional walks and things like that. I was pitched differently last year. Soto's 14 walks were tied for third in MLB entering the day. 2 of those walks were intentional. At this point, opposing pitchers are content to take their chances with Pete Alonso, who has largely benefited from that decision. Alonso entered play with a 1.091 OPS and has delivered several game-changing hits for the team. I would say I'm getting a decent amount of strikes, but there's some – what's up, Mario?
Yo.
There's some specific situations where pitchers don't attack, but Soto's success as a hitter is predicated upon plate discipline, and he isn't about to stray from that approach. I feel like I'm trying to be the same, do damage when I can, and whenever they want to attack me, I take my chances. All right, so I'll read some of this when we come back. Okay. It's not that crazy of an article. You need a
There's a mic condom somewhere.
yeah, I wouldn't. Those are like Evan and Morash use those. Here you go.
You don't?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Appreciate you.
Like Evan uses the same one every day. I'm like, they both have kids, and regardless,
No, it's just, I mean,
their shits are not clean.
I'm okay. And once I see it, I don't want to know.
Yeah, no, that is gross.
Good evening at 11 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. Well, Clay Holmes struck out 8 over 5 innings, a 1-run ball, while Juan Soto looking to bust out of his funk. First homer since March 28th for Soto as the Mets race the Twins 5-1. Pat McCarthy the call, Odyssey Mets Radio. Pete Alonso remained hot, 2 more hits and RBI. However, the bad news for Jose Siri, suffered a fractured tibia, unclear just how long he's going to be on the shelf. Yankees got long balls from Jazz Chisholm, Austin Wells, Ben Rice, Trent Grisham topped the Royals 4-1. Carlos Carrasco allowed just a Bobby Witt Jr. solo shot over 5 innings for his second win. Now from Yas, meanwhile, before the game, Aaron Judge named captain of Team USA in the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Shedeur Sanders reportedly set to hold a private workout with the Giants on Thursday, and of course 1 week before the draft. And the Rangers took out the Panthers 5-3. 54 degrees, Fatty Sky at Central Park, and that's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
All right. We'll do Big Shot after this. Inside the 11 p.m. hour on the Fan in New York, it's Monday night, April 14th. Your nighttime host, Keith McPherson, taking your calls, talking sports. The Yankees win 4-1. The Mets win 5-1. Let's start talking about it and talk about, this common theme in between. So I got a little bit from the article. Shout out to my boy H&L Dre on Twitter. And from today's New York Post, shout out to Mike Puma, who wrote the article. One thing is certain to Soto. He's not getting pitched the same as last season when he had Aaron Judge hitting behind him in the Yankees lineup. It's definitely different, Soto told the Post before the Mets faced the Twins. I had the best hitter in baseball hitting behind me. I was getting more attacked and more pitches in the strike zone, less intentional walks and things like that. I was pitched differently last year. Soto's 14 walks were tied for third in MLB entering the day. 2 of those walks were intentional. At this point, opposing pitchers are content to take their chances with Pete Alonso, who has largely benefited from that decision. Alonso entered play with a 1.091 OPS and has delivered several game-changing hits for the team. I would say I am getting a decent amount of strikes, but there's some specific situations where pitchers don't attack, Soto said. But Soto's success as a hitter is predicated upon plate discipline, and he isn't about to stray from that approach. He says, I feel like I am trying to be the same, do damage when I can, and whenever they want to attack me, I take my chances, and when they don't, I just take my walk. All right, well, other than that, there's nothing really in there that's worth $4.99. But I mean, hey, that's up to you. If you want to pay $4.99, I'm giving it to you right here. Soto said the team approach is more important than his own numbers. Everybody has got a role, and I feel as a team we've got to attack pitchers as a team, Soto said. We don't have to attack the pitchers as individuals. If they don't want to pitch me, I just pass the baton and let Alonso do his thing. If they don't want to pitch to him, he should do the same thing. Yeah, well, there were so many folks that said, hey, this guy chose to not stay with the Yankees and have the best hitter in baseball behind him. It's, of course, going to be a little bit of an adjustment and a difference, but I still think Juan Soto is Juan Soto, and I think that it's still very early in the season, and a lot of people are impatient, and I understand the impatience. You act like you are paying his contract. You act like you lost the money that it took to pay for Juan Soto, and I just think he's already been worth it. He was worth the cost before he stepped on the field. Look at the attendance in spring training. Look at the attendance the first homestand. Look at how the team is playing. And I remember talking about the Yankees with Juan Soto and saying he rubs off on his teammates. He's just that caliber of a player. His preparation, his his batting practice, like the way that he is, high tide raises all ships. I can't really point to 1 or 2 guys that are benefiting from being around Juan Soto, but I've heard guys like Alonso and Nimmo talk about his preparation and how he goes about his business. 888-808-1019. Let's talk about the Yankees, though. The Yankees definitely don't need Juan Soto in this lineup. There's people putting side-by-side images of Trent Grisham and Juan Soto's numbers. The latest is Ben Rice, who took the jersey right off his back. I should have bought that 22. They had the 22 blank jersey on sale, the authentic one. I forget how cheap it was. It was like half off. And I'm like, somebody's going to get it. But I didn't think somebody like Ben Rice would get it. And then Ben Rice being the version of Ben Rice he is right now, it's all good. Moose is in Jamaica first up on the Fan. Go for it, Moose. I'll take a win like that to start the series and hopefully win the series. Yeah, I don't, but yeah, I can't. I mean, I can go off of those numbers, but I also can't go off of those numbers. Bobby Witt Jr. People will tell you that he's an American League MVP. Uh, Salvi always tries to kill us. Any of those guys from Pascantino to Mikael Garcia, uh, or Mike Massey, or any of those guys can get going. Jonathan India, I don't know. I'm not looking at them like their numbers. I don't know their numbers, but good to get a win and good to start the series off beating them and having Carlos Carrasco on the mound only give up one hit and it beat a home run, a solo shot to Bobby Witt Jr. Yeah, and you know how they won? They just hit 4 home runs in 2 innings after Jazz, cracked that first one. And they got, Seth Lugo. Let's talk about Seth Lugo. He came here last year and absolutely shoved against the Yankees. It was one of the most masterful performances of the season by anybody. Not the same tonight.
Going to match their way to victories, 95 plus victories, because
95 plus victories.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Keith, like it's literally at a point where the Yankees have unlocked the key with their hitting approach, where they are not chasing bad pitches and in leverage counts, literally taking advantage of whatever analytics they've been working on for the past 2 years. You've seen it, and the subtle effect on the team. You were there one season and taught these players, you do not take into the pitches when they're trying to get you out. That's what they get my call, Keith.
Thanks for the call, Moose. I'm going to give James Rawson some credit, the hitting coach, for that. Not completely give Juan Soto that much credit, but I do. I remember last year, Volpe, Cabrera, both of them had a little bit more of plate discipline and were waiting on their pitches, and they both talked about watching Juan Soto and his effect. He's gone now. He's been away from the team long enough. I can't give him that much credit. 888-808-1019. But you lost me when you said that they're going to win 95 plus games. I don't need them to win 95 plus games in an American League East where they're in first place right now at 9-7. They're in first place right now, going 5-5 in their last 10. The Yankees are in first place right now, going 500 on the road. The Yankees are in first place right now. Good to get back home to some home cooking when it's not freaking raining and freezing and windy. They're 6-4 at home. Now, what worries me is the pitching, but that's subject to change as well. David is down in Virginia on the Fan in New York. Talk to us, David.
Hey, Keith, happy birthday to your little one.
Thank you. We had a great time. We are blessed, and I'm still kind of just like floating from the experience of having a 2-year-old kid and planning a birthday for him and executing it and it all going well. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Wonderful to hear. One comment and one question. I'm not an Aaron Boone fan, but I really like how he used his bullpen this weekend, even though it didn't work out, specifically finding a lane to use Luke Weaver in a high leverage spot rather than waiting for the 8th inning.
Yep.
So I thought that was really good stuff there. And then my question is, and I'm not being sarcastic, but in preparation for the Yankees' next injury to his starting pitcher, do you think that they should stretch out Ryan Yarbrough? Because I still think he has a lot of stuff left in the tank from when he was a starter. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, great call, David. Thanks for that call. One, like Ryan Yarbrough, I thought he was about to get up out of here, but maybe he was just getting going. Maybe they do stretch him out. Something's got to give, though. Something's got to change, though. We can't go to Carlos Rodon. I mean, we're gonna, but like, so much to like unpack with this. Stroman is out. He's on the IL, and no rush. I hope they slow play it. They probably will slow play it because they definitely are not going to let him pitch 140 innings. And he hasn't looked good. And let's go back to the game Friday, right? And then I'll talk about Boone. Anybody I talked to that was at that game was ready for that game to end. I don't think it was Boone waving the white flag quitting because he didn't think that they could compete and come back and didn't have faith in his team and was begging for the loss. It was ridiculous. The game was delayed to start. It was over as soon as Marcus Stroman taken. I would have fought for Stroman to not even I would have did something. The combination of Stroman and the weather and the delay, Pitchers are the most superstitious creatures of habit. I think when I was on Saturday, I talked about being at a Yankees Blue Jays game the first Friday in August because it was Hawaiian shirt night, and that game got delayed, and Stroman gave it up then. And I don't know. Friday, I look at it like this. You lose the battle in hopes of potentially winning the war, which obviously would have been the series. They didn't win the series, but like, what did you want Boone to do down 8 runs in the 6th inning when Gomez can't grip the ball? It's starting to be dangerous for everybody involved. It's starting to be pointless. You have the official game in, right? Like, what is Boone supposed to fight to stay out there all night? Nobody wanted to be out there anymore. So if I'm casting my vote, and if they had a way for us to, go on the at-bat app in the stadium and everybody cast a vote, Yankee fans were out of there. Yankee fans didn't want to be there. Shout out to the GOAT Chico, who holds the flag up in the bleachers for the 7th inning. He's like, we sat out here. I'm sitting out here the whole time to get to the 7th inning stretch to hold the flag, and they call a game. We didn't even get to do it. Everybody was soaked and miserable. So, like, can we not try to make it like Aaron Boone as the manager of the Yankees, who's super competitive and trying to win, is out there saying, yeah, he was forced to quit. We were all forced to call it quits. And when I go back to David's call about managing the bullpen, and yeah, when you have a lead and you learned from the Diamondback series against, another NL West team that's pretty good. When you look at the NL West, that division, they've already got 3 teams over double-digit wins. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard later. But yeah, Boone learned from that series, right? Hey, go to your best guys, right? I remember being upset about it, like, oh, we got to throw Adam Ottavino, who just got back here, and Ryan Yarborough, send him to Yarborough, get him up out of here. Like, but whatever. You go to Weaver because you have Weaver, and you need to hold that lead. You need to win that game. And then we all know what happened yesterday. The next point that you made about stretching out Yarborough, sure, like, I don't know. Maybe we need to throw some bullpen games. Maybe Rodon, it sucks to think that a guy that's making $162 million, like, might have to be a little bit of an opener. 6 years, $162 million, bro. He's making $27 million, and I hate to be already complaining about it, but, like, what you're hearing in my voice is knowing that nobody is going to take him in a trade. The Yankees are not cutting bait. Like, what we've experienced with Rodon this early on, I feel like it's just how he is, and we have to continue to go through that, and it sucks. It's just like, you can't get excited for his starts. Even when he does pitch well, like, it's just like impending doom. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know that the wind can blow the wrong way, and he's not going to be able to overcome it. And as soon as he's walking guys and he's not getting calls, like, you know what? They need ABS ASAP. That might be the only thing to save the next 3 years of Carlos Rodon. The automatic balls and strike system where he could challenge or whatever. Because when it's in the hands of the ump, he's going to disagree with the ump. He's got something to say. It's just like so easily to, like, I don't know. But anyway, something's got to give, because Carlos Carrasco, as a veteran, can come out with moxie and give you starts like this, and even his start before the Detroit start. C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. Will Warren, TW, the will to Warren. He will will himself through 5 innings and be good enough, be solid, good enough for me. Now here comes Clark Schmidt. How many pitches is Clark going to throw? 60 to 70. The bullpen's got to be ready to go then, and I think they will be. And I don't have to tell you about Max Fried. We're good with Max Fried. At least we feel good about Max Fried. But like, Carlos Rodon is the opening day starter. It's just going to keep coming back around to Carlos Rodon. And I know the Yankees have a mental health coach, right? The Yankees mental health coach tried to pitch the Yankees the Red Sox 2020, yikes. the Red Sox 2004 comeback when the Yankees went down 3-0 against the Houston Astros in the 2022 ALCS. That guy might be out, but whoever is there, they need to get Rodon into some meditation. Life is crazy. There's a lot going on, but sometimes if you just close your eyes and control your breathing and think positive thoughts, it will help you. Like, maybe he needs to talk to Marcus Stroman, or maybe doesn't. But Marcus Stroman talked about being grounded and staying grounded and being where his feet are and being, having gratitude and things like that. They need to do something to get through to Carlos Rodon. That is not the end of the world. But don't let Jung Ho Lee hit 2 home runs.
It's not Carlos Rodon, though. And it's never been him in his entire...
No, he is what he is.
Right. So you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's a nice pie in the sky idea. Get him meditation, get him on yoga,
coaching,
anything. But this doesn't surprise anybody.
No, because it's on brand every single time.
Rodon's gonna have 4 or 5 starts where he's gonna look like an ace. It is what it is.
He has the stuff.
He's gonna have 15 or 20 starts where you want it never to pitch again for your team because you know what is coming. You know what is coming with this guy.
Baseball is enough of a roller coaster through the season. I don't want to be on the roller coaster that is Carlos Rodon. It's just like, it's not fun. And I know that those bad vibes get picked up by his teammates. And it's just like, it's a combination of his personality, his stuff, and like the stage. There's a lot of people questioning whether he can pitch in New York or not. Clearly not.
The stage is a good part, and you can even, and a lot of people, and a little separately, a lot of people freaking out about Devin Williams. And I think Williams is probably going to be fine, but I think it's an adjustment period. You're pitching in Milwaukee, now you're pitching for the #1 brand in all sports.
Yeah.
So I think that's an adjustment period, right? I don't think any realistic Yankee fan expected him to become Mariano Rivera the minute he put on the pinstripe.
Nope.
Ridiculous, right? But I think he's going to struggle, much like Juan Soto has struggled. Now, Soto has done it in New York before, where we need Williams to actually do it in New York to have that kind of like leeway, right? Like that's like...
Yeah, but his struggle as well, like everybody went back and looked at his April and May numbers in Milwaukee, where people didn't make a fuss about it there. His struggles here so far with similar numbers with the Yankees they want his job taken from him. They want him demoted. I'm not going that way. But yeah, it's funny you bring up Devin Williams because I was having this conversation too. So many people were ready to take his job and say that he can't pitch in New York. What about the starter that took the ball on opening day? 888-808-1019. Bruce is in Flushing on the Fan. Go for it, Bruce.
Thank you. A couple of Yankee points, and I'm going to ask you a tough question, and you're going to act like general manager of the Yankees. First on the Yankee points. I understand when fans overreact. It's when media members overreact that gets me a little crazy. I mean, yes, we know the last several games, Yankees playing in cold weather, 35, 40 degrees. A lot of the Yankee pitchers like Warren and Carrasco are touchy-feely type of pitchers. So it's logical to assume that these guys are going to have trouble in cold weather. And also, it's obvious Jazz does not like playing in cold weather. And I know, the old axiom, well, it's cold weather for both teams. Yeah, fine. But the bottom line, there are certain players who can't or won't play well in cold weather. And if I know this, the media members can know this. And when they overreact and say, well, Will Warren's not that good. He's just, a struggling pitcher. And Carrasco may be like that in good way. Granted, I'm not sure. But Carrasco is definitely a really type of pitcher with his stuff. So I don't understand why media members who should know better overreact to this stuff.
Yeah, I can only speak for myself. I'm more of a fan than a media member. And it's way too early to be overreacting. The first week of the season, I said, we're going to react. We're not going to overreact. We're going to jump on some things, but we're not going to jump to conclusions. And you can't. But for the purpose of sports talk radio, we got to be somewhat measured. And when you measure the conditions. You have to put in the equation. It was 32 degrees. They moved all the games in Detroit from night games to afternoon games. Just that alone changes what these guys do. It changes their sleep, their wake up, their routine. Like you mentioned with the pitchers, certain pitchers, they're just not going to have their stuff in the elements. A guy like Jazz, that's why I said he's from the Bahamas, bro. If you grew up in the Bahamas, do you think that you would, I don't care what age you are, if you grew up in the Bahamas, the cold is extra cold for you. I have family in Jacksonville, Florida. When it's 55 degrees, they're in hoodies and jackets. Like it's a climate thing from what you're used to. I can't speak for anybody else, but when I am measuring the early part of the season, like, I'm having fun. I'm seeing a lot of Yankee fans panicking. I'm like, yo, chill. It's gonna get hotter.
Baltimore's rotation is shot out. Boston is 3 or 4 games in a loss column. But we, even though we had this horrible start, playing in horrible weather, we're in first place.
Yeah, they weren't gonna go 162-0 because they swept the Brewers.
Tough question for you.
Yes.
Mission is playing well, great. But we know he's not a 340 hitter. Do you call up a team like San Diego, who lost Merrill, who lost Grisham, the Atlanta Braves, who lost their left fielder for 80 games due to steroids? Do you offer them Grisham for a number 3 or number 4 type of pitcher?
No, not a 3 or 4, and they are not gonna give Grisham in this ballpark with that swing. Grisham in center field in this ballpark. You know what? The question I thought you were gonna ask.
Right.
I thought you were gonna ask, why was Alex Verdugo playing every single day over Trent Grisham? Is he that much of a center fielder that he couldn't play left field? Because that was my question with Dominguez. And bravo tonight, Dominguez was all over everything. But my question with Dominguez's struggles was, why can't Trent Grisham play left field? He did a little bit of that in his career. And now as I'm watching him hit, because he's getting consistent at bats, this guy was glued to the bench in favor of Alex Verdugo. Why couldn't he have played over Verdugo in left field last year? Because he's strictly a center fielder? No, he's an outfielder. And I think he would have ran into more homers, or maybe if he had more consistent at bats, a better batting average, some singles. We've seen him hit some singles, some doubles. Like, I don't know, man. That was a question. I'm like, well, how come last year they were so loyal to Verdugo and Trent Grisham just was a non-factor? They're not going to trade Trent Grisham. Belly, look at Belly right now. Belly has missed so many games already. They need Trent Grisham.
They also need another pitcher on you know, I mean, it's great that Schmidt's coming back, and I'm with you. Stroman can take the next 2 months off. That's fine with me. But if there's another injury coming down, you have to dig deep in the farm system. So you wouldn't trade him for a 3 or 4. You trade him for a number 2.
It depends on who. I'm down to trade him. I'm just telling you, they're not going to trade him. They're looking at his offensive production and his defense in center now with Judge back and right, and they're rubbing their hands together like the dude from The Simpsons. They're like, yes, like this, like the plan is working out. They are far away from trading for another arm. Thanks for the call, Bruce. 888-808-1019. Luis Gil will be back at some point. There is no getting rid of Carlos Rodon. So like that's what I was saying in the last couple of weeks too. This last start pissed me off because I didn't watch it, and then I'm getting the alerts, and then I go back and look at it, and I'm like, it's so on brand. It's like a car crash in slow motion. You see it happening, and you can't avoid it. But like, we have to handle this dude with kid gloves. He's ours. You know, I said he's like he's got more bark than bite. He's like this, like, he looks like a pit bull, but he's a pup, man. But he's ours. He signed. He signed through this window of Judge's prime. He signed as these young kids are emerging. He's a left-handed pitcher that we need in Yankee Stadium. He has the stuff. And I think he's evolving into a guy that, like, isn't just relying on, you know, throwing his fastball by you, because he can't, you know, and even like his off-speed stuff, he's leaving that up. And Jung-Ho Lee is hitting bombs, and it just, I don't know. They have to figure it out with Rodon. Like, there's no other recourse. You can't put him on the Phantom IL. You can't skip a start with him. Without Garrett Cole, he is paid like a number 2. He's got to be the number 2 to Max Fried, and I don't know what it's going to be for him. I remember 2 years ago when, like, he had this like weird. I know we got to break, Paul. He was talking about, like, after the season. I remember he couldn't get an out against the Royals to end the 82-80 season. He talked about he's going to go to some place like dark and quiet. Like, I don't know. I joked that he was going to a darkness retreat like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is with the guy. I don't know what it is with the guy. Here's something from the live chat. Shout out to Bourbon Legend. He said Trent Grisham was really good when he was in San Diego before Tatis broke out. And he also mentioned that they knew they had Jackson Merrill. And he said that, you know, he went yard today after a bunt attempt. And I saw that. I was sitting right behind the visiting dugout. I saw that bunt attempt. And for those of you like Evan Roberts and some others that are saying, why is Juan Soto attempting a bunt? Sometimes that gets you into the rhythm, into the game. I've seen Juan Soto do that before. Coming up next, the big shot of the night. Keith McPherson on the Fan. 888-808-1019. We'll be right back after this. Oh my, yo. I see somebody throwing money. Let me my God, a people's champ. You're good win and good seeing you, King. A win is a win is a win. Cookie pitched well. C is for Cookie. That's good enough for me. I love your pick, yo. You got your beautiful daughter. You got the belt. Good seeing you too, bro. I'm gonna be out there more. I have my sister with me tonight, but like as it gets warmer, I'm about to start doing the regular routine. Go to the stadium and then come to work. I was explaining to my sister. I'm like, she's like, when are we gonna leave? I'm like, I got it. I can drop you off at the hotel. I can be back at the station. I got it. I've been doing this now. This is my 4th season. I don't know how many games I have gone to. And in 2022, yo, I was getting up in the morning, doing a production call with MLB Network, going to MLB Network, lifting, showering, doing the show. After the show, driving to the Bronx, watching the game, driving down here, doing the radio show, going to sleep from like 3:30 to 10:30, waking up for the 11 a.m. production call again. I'm not doing that anymore. This is a lot easier now. Let me see what else y'all talking about in the chat. Here, what up, yo? Aaron Judge, that's in the World Baseball Classic. Yeah, we're going to talk about it later on, a little later on. Susan Waldman takes the 9th inning off, leaving Dave Sims alone, same as she did with John Sterling. Wrong time of the game to be gone, in my opinion. You're talking to the right guy. So I have sat in for Susan Waldman and done her job. This is probably a good little nugget. Somebody clip this on Twitch or YouTube, whatever. Susan leaves for the 9th inning because she has to do her star of the game. When I filled in for Susan and I had to do star of the game, that was more nerve-wracking than anything that happened in the booth. You have to get from upstairs in the media area, downstairs to where the dugout entrance is, go through the corridor, go through this underpass, up to the visiting dugout. You got to be sitting there ready for that last out. Bam, bam, ba-na-na. When I did it, I was staring up at the lights because I had never been on the field at that angle. I've been on the field in the back for photo day, but I'd never been on the field. So I'm looking at the light, and I'm in my head, I'm like, damn, how do these guys play on this field? It's crazy. And I was like in awe. And I didn't realize how fast everything is moving. The grounds crew is out there. The players are getting out of there. They're doing interviews. And Susan has to run to the Yankees dugout and pick her star of the game. Now, Meredith Marakovitz is also choosing the Yes Network player of the game. They can't be the same guys. So that's where Susan is. That's what she's doing when she's not there in the 9th. There's no other way around it. I just need the Kendrick Lamar Big Shot instrumental. And yeah, and I just have a little different read. Thanks. Sorry, I'm getting ready for Big Shot. I'll finish my thought though. Yeah. So like you might want to hear her as the color commentary on the broadcast, but she physically has to go down there with a receiver and do the like, hey, this is Susan Waldman. Like tonight was Austin Wells, who caught the game and homered. So she had to get Austin Wells on the microphone. It's a lot to run down there and do. So that, if you're wondering, there's the answer. She doesn't do the play-by-play, and she always leaves the booth to do the star of the game. She's 78 years old. Takes her a bit to get down there. Exactly, bro. Keith, we have to do something about left field bleachers. It's so dead. Yeah, I don't go over there, bro. If anything, I'm with the terrace squad right underneath them at the Fresh Direct Terrace. But left field bleachers is just stragglers, anybody. Who knows? There's no organization over there. Right field bleachers stand up for the 2 strikes call, and left field is just cricket. Yeah, because we are like, get up, help them out, let's go. One of the creatures need to be on that side. Some former creatures, well, not former creatures, some of the creatures that don't sit there anymore with the terror squad, and they do a lot of the creature chants and things, but I don't think there's going to be any creatures sitting in the left field bleachers. That we don't do what they do. it's not the same. What up, Keith? Happy birthday to your son. How are those workouts coming along? Good, bro. I am boy dad, no dad bod. Summer body ready right now, and I still got a whole about month and a half. I'd love to see Trent in the lineup along with Wells and Grisham. I'm not sold on Belly and Goldie. On Goldie, why are you not sold on Goldie? Another knock for Goldie today. A hustle single, a double. Why are you not sold on Goldie? Goldie's been great. Goldie's been great, bro. I don't know why you're not sold on Goldschmidt. And what'd you say you like to see Trent in the lineup along with Wells and Grisham? Trent is Grisham. I'd love to see Trent in the lineup along with Wells and Grisham. Maybe you wrote that wrong. I'd love to see Trent in the lineup along with Wells and Ben Rice. I'm not too sold on Belly and Goldie with where they're at in their careers. I think you gotta go look at Goldie's numbers, bro. I don't know if you and I are talking about the same Goldie, bro. I'll pull up his numbers for you after we do big shot of the night. Actually, I could throw it up here. We'll get back to it. I got to do the actual show, so. The big shot of the night is brought to you by WFAN and me, Keith McPherson. Bright lights, big city, bunch of big shots. We got to pour up a double shot tonight, a double shot for the Mets and for the Yankees. We got 4 guys that I'd like to give a nod to for a big shot of the night. We'll start with the Yankees first. I've been saying it. C is for Cookie. That's good enough for me. Better than good enough. Carlos Carrasco to start off the series against the Royals, to go out there today. And if we always want to do this. If you take away that one hit by Bobby Witt Jr., he goes 5 innings, giving up nada, no hits, no runs, with 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Obviously, you can't do that. But either way, good stat line for, the veteran Carlos Cookie Carrasco. And then out of our lineup today, shout out to Judge, who had 2 knocks. Shout out to Goldie, who had 2 knocks. They didn't have any ribbies. I got to give this one to Jazz. Jazz Chisholm, back-to-back homers, right? Or back-to-back days with a homer. He's also tied for the league lead. I was talking about how MLB put out that Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm, Tommy Edman, Wilmer Flores, Kyle Schwarber, Tyler Soderstrom, and Mike Trout are all tied at 6 homers in Major League Baseball. Judge is due. Judge should be at like 10 right now. He should be well above them. But I'll give the double shot to Carlos Cookie Carrasco and Jazz Chisholm for tying that game. And the Yankees never looked back. It was contagious once Jazz cracked it open. 3 other left-handed hitters followed up behind him: Trent Grisham, Ben Rice, and Austin Wells. And then on the other side, well, all the way in Minnesota, the Make It Happen Mets make it happen in the first game in the Twin Cities. And I got to give it to Clay Holmes and Juan Soto. Clay Holmes goes out there, and if this is the version of Clay Holmes that the Mets are going to get, it's a steal of a deal. I just was crying about what the Yankees are paying Carlos Rodon. Clay Holmes goes out there, 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 8 Ks, 2 walks. And then just to get some people to chill, just to get some people to remember that he is the generational Juan Soto. Juan Soto tacks on the insurance runs. You didn't need him, but Juan Soto goes deep again, and who knows what comes from this. He attempted a bunt, and later on, he popped up, and then later on, he saw one, he connected, he hit it out. Maybe he gets hot right now. Maybe this continues. 888-808-1019. Let's continue with your calls. Oh, yeah. And the thing that popped up with Rodon that I got to mention, and I don't know how they come up with these numbers. Dugout Forever on Instagram put it out there. The money that Carlos Rodon has been paid $56 million. His produced value is $13 million. How much are they paying Clay Holmes? Oh man. Eric is in Bayside, Queens on the fan. What's up, Eric?
Down a little bit. He won 17 games last year.
Last year's over.
Just, fluke. I know it's over. I know you're trying to turn the page onto this year. Weather's been brutal. So be it. I'm willing to live with it.
Yeah, we have to.
Somebody mentioned about Yarborough a couple of callers ago. He's going to be really needed during Schmidt's start on Wednesday as far as the piggyback can go.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, as far as stretching him out, he's a long man right now. I think the caller was stretching him out to say, like, maybe he can, be a sixth starter. I don't know if the Yankees are going to do that, but they got to get crafty, man. It can't be every time Carlos Rodon goes out, we go on this adventure that ends in a car crash. I don't know. We have to live with it. I am just hoping that they are working with him between every start on just like the mental aspect of it and having more of a poker face and also being able to overcome obstacles. I'm sure he's overcome some obstacles in his life. He needs to apply that mentality to the mound.
Okay, as of now, you can't count on Rodon. You can't count on Stroman. You're gonna need guys like Yarborough down the road, like Schmidt. You're also gonna need this kid that they brought up, Winans, that they got from the Braves last year. He looks like he could be something to mess with here.
Yeah, Alan Winans. I saw a little bit of him in spring training. He's here. We'll see. We don't have to worry about Stroman. He's on the 15-day IL, and I do think they slow play that. They could just tell us the knee, they're still swelling in the knee, and you won't get a word out of me. On the opposite, I won't fight him on it. And, it's good to get Clark back, and I'm hoping that the young man, Luis Gil, gets back sooner rather than later. And then next thing you know, it is closer to the deadline, and then they have to get another starter because there's no way you go into October and it's free Rodon. There's just no way. There's no way.
Yeah, but you don't want to give away too much just to get, either a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, but you might have to, because if this American League is looking like this again, another year, like the Yankees are in first place at 9-7 in the AL East. No one should scare you out of the Central, even though we did go lose to the Tigers. And the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim are in first place in the West. Like, I don't know. I'm punching it. I'm going for it. Like, if it's Pablo Lopez or it's Sandy Alcantara, I know those guys are going to be the top guys at the list. Like, you got to get another ace because this lineup is deeper this year. So if the hitting actually comes through this year, imagine Judge actually comes through this year. Thanks for the call, Eric. Imagine this is the year Judge comes through. I know I've talked about this a lot, that like there's no higher place for Judge to fail. Some would argue that the World Baseball Classic might be. Judge is now going to play in the World Baseball Classic. So there are some of you that are like, is he going to get hurt? There's some of you that are like, is he going to perform? That's higher stakes. Is he going to deliver? Or is he going to choke? I don't know. But what if this is the year that Judge, and I really think it will be, because he already failed in the World Series. There is no Galaxy Series. Like, he has a kid now. Life is different for him. His perspective has changed. It's like he's the captain now, and like the lone star face of the team, Juan Soto, left. What if this is the year where he answers the bell? I would want to make sure that I have the starting pitchers to back him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't want to be in a game where Judge hits 2 homers and the Yankees lose 8-6 in a postseason game because the Carlos Rodon started the game. I don't even want to. I wish I didn't say that. Let me hit the dump button on that. Bob is in Jackson on the fan. Hello, Bob.
Yeah, what's going on, Keith?
What's going on?
I got 2 points. Number 1, are you really confident in this Mets pitching?
It isn't that I'm really confident in it. I'm confident in Hefner's laboratory. Like, they just are able to take these guys and get more out of them. And Frankie Montas will be back, and Sean Manaea will be back. And as we're talking about going to get a Pablo Lopez or a Sandy Alcantara, they can do that as well. The bullpen I'm definitely confident in. And the starting rotation has been better than anybody really thought. And it's deja vu. Last year going into the season, the Mets have one of the worst rotations in baseball. It's a clear weakness. Same thing here. This lineup is almighty. It hasn't been that. It's been this rotation of guys. Like, if Kodai Senga stays healthy, yeah, you should be confident. If this is the version of Clay Holmes you're going to get, hell yeah, you should be confident. David Peterson, being like, I don't know. I don't see any reason to doubt them off of what we've seen early, because it's just going to warm up. They're just going to get more confident. They're just going to have more to build off of.
Yeah, Keith, these guys are going 5 innings. Tyler McGill, David Peterson, you're going 5 innings.
This is Major League Baseball today. If a guy goes 7, 8 innings, if a guy goes what Michael King did, the whole baseball world is talking about it. Michael King over the weekend goes 9 innings, 2 hits, gives up 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, and everybody is like, oh, complete game shutout. Like, it never happens anymore.
All right.
You know?
Also, number 2, yeah, on the Yankees. This kid, Ben Rice, the man eats rice.
He eats nails in his rice. He swings the bat harder than anybody, and he is so locked. I mean, I love it, man. I love it. I'm gonna keep giving myself credit for it. When I sat in with Dave and Susan in spring training, they said, "Who's impressed you the most? Who are you most excited to see?" I said, Ben Rice. He went back to catching a bit. He said he put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, and every time he hits the ball, it's 105, 110. I'm like, he got the confidence last year. He made history last year. I'm like, what is this guy? I wasn't even thinking about him in the offseason, honestly, because you get Paul Goldschmidt to play first base. You have Cody Bellinger that can play first base. You have DJ LeMahieu who can play first base. What's the progress with DJ? I'm just kidding. But with Ben Rice, I'm like, maybe it was a fluke, you know? Maybe it was a 1-year thing, and it wasn't a full year. Is he even going to break camp with the team? Of course he's going to break camp with the team. By the time I was talking to Dave and Susan. And, now it has translated. It's not just spring training. He's doing it in the regular season. And you know what? Shout out to Major League Baseball. They did a thing with Ben Rice where we got to see his personality a bit. I think he went to like a player's house where they were doing content for Major League Baseball. And Ben Rice, that's why Ben Arose really came up. He flexed his English, Spanish, how he speaks Spanish as a second language very well. And you got to just see him in kind of, Spencer Jones vibe. Now everybody knows who he is. He's becoming a household name. Good to have him. You need hitters in the lineup. This is your DH. This is your leadoff hitter. I did not have that. I did not have that in my mind. I didn't have that in my mind even in February when pitchers and catchers, I did not have Ben Rice as the leadoff hitter everyday DH with 5 home runs. And if I go pull up his OPS and go pull up all, the baseball savant stuff of how many hard hit, it's great. It's great. Ben Rice, that ball is cooked. Ross is in Bergen County on the Fan. Ross, I got the Rangers highlights on right in front of me.
Yeah, I only watched for one reason and one reason only. It was Sam Rosen's second full-ass game. But, just the latest kick in the you-know-what is the story. You know how, my Vikings a couple years ago, the story of the whole season was that we were 13-0 in the one-score games, and the one-score game we lost was against Danny Jones in the playoffs. Well, leave it to tonight being the first game where the Rangers are officially eliminated is the first game of the season where they came back from down multiple goals. Which is, if you think about it, it's the narrative from all of last year where they come back is, they'd be down 3-1, 4-2. Didn't matter if there was the whole third period or 5 minutes left on the clock. They were going to find a way to break it to extra time. And I mean, this year it's been the complete opposite. Believe it to when the pressure's off and all the eyes are off. All of a sudden, how they go right back to what they were.
Yeah, there's no weight on it. Doesn't matter for anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing too is that a lot of people are getting on Lavio Light, myself included, because same old song and dance. Obviously, Lock from your Taco, all these top picks that never panned out. And what do we see? We got Gabe Perreault, where I don't know if you know the whole story. Perreault, we drafted him 20th overall, but he was supposed to go top 10. He was on that top line at Boston College. Him, Will Smith, Brian Leonard, they're some of the best prospects. Some of the best prospects at NCAA, and he fell to us at 20. And he debuted the other day, and Laviolette scratched him like 2 or 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
He did a hockey contract for it, but and like the entry level contract, he signed it, but they basically burned a year on it to not play the kid. And now they're playing him now that it means nothing. But I just don't understand when are they going to learn that you call a kid up and you don't even play him. What's he going to learn? Like they did it today with Berard. So as much as I'm not the biggest Laviolette fan, for me, Drury's front and center, the face of all this. Obviously, the players going to be Kreider's a Banjet. I mean, they're 1A, 1B. They're probably gone. It sounds like Kreider's a foregone conclusion to be gone. Everyone's talking this up like it's going to be his last game of his career. He only knows what it's like to be a Ranger. So if this is it for him, obviously, he had a hell of a run, but it's a what have you done for me lately type city stuff. Obviously, he's going out in disgrace, and then honestly, if Mika's the same situation, same thing with him. I mean, that's how bad this last year was. And even last year, I mean, look, last year as good as they were, there was some debate as to people who were overly optimistic about the team. Me, I was kind of half in, half out as if they were legit or not. But Mika or Kreider, and especially Mika, I mean, they weren't really fooling nobody last year either. This is just who they are. And people were kind of more so fooled by the Trocheck boxes of the world, and Lafreniere, I mean, forget it. But, it's just at the end of the day, it's sad that Sam's wrapping up on Thursday, but I don't know if you saw the news, Kenny Albert getting announced as
I did.
Officially the new voice of the Rangers. So one of the best in the business, if not the best, man. So, and he's a legend around here, obviously, with Barb. And then he does the Knicks, on the radio and everything. So he's great. What he does for TNT. So, yeah, he's awesome.
Well, your Mets have the young guys playing. Acuna's up. They're playing him. Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos. What are your thoughts about the Make It Happen Mets?
It's about time for Vientos. RBI double. I saw Acuna was like 2 for 2 with the walk and all that. He's raking. Obviously, don't even got to waste time on him. But Vientos and Acuna, I mean, if they can get it going, you kind of get the news now with Thierry, and not like he was giving you anything with the bat, but obviously the base running.
Speed, yeah.
On the bases. Yeah, I mean, look, that he was that Soto's first RBI was the homer, but he had that Soto RBI in Houston. That was all him. That play was all him. So that was kind of, he gave you like that aggressiveness on the bases. But I mean, Kelly.
And that game against the Blue Jays where he came in, stole a base, and then he was going the whole way. Yeah.
That's true.
You need guys like that to manufacture runs. That athleticism can be the difference in a tight game.
And I'll say this, you just brought up Michael King. I always point to, and you guys saw the other one, Lugo. I think Lugo and Michael King were the reason why Stearns wanted to try this Clay Holmes experiment, turning him into a starter, because obviously Lugo being second Cy Young to, only finishing behind a guy in Scuba who won the Triple Crown, and Michael King, I mean, they got Cease out there. They let go of Blake Snell because, Michael King, they think he's the real deal out there. He proved it like yesterday after the week game. And I think Stearns kind of saw something, and Clay Holmes kind of being next in line with that rhetoric. And I mean, you see him with that changeup, man. The one thing I'd say with him is kind of the length in terms of starts. Yeah, I don't so far from what we've seen, it's kind of the same thing with Canning, but not so much from the reliever perspective, because obviously Canning's a full-blown starter. But, I mean, so far through these first couple of starts, Clay's have had the electric stuff, but I don't know how deep he's going into games. What do you go, like 5 innings tonight? I was kind of in and out between them and the Rangers, but, I mean, when he was on it, he was throwing some electric stuff, and honestly, same with Ryan. I mean, they couldn't touch Joe Ryan for the first couple innings. That second inning, I think they whipped on every pitch in the zone. But the fact, and Soto, by the way, I think I brought up Soto, the fact that he finally got another homer on the board. I mean, it took long enough. I'm not going to panic with him because he's getting on base. That's what he does best. But I mean, at some point, I kind of compare it to when Lindor first got here. At some point, people are going to start bringing up the AAV and looking at the numbers. So I'm not panic mode with him yet. Obviously, the homer was refreshing to see, but at some point, the walks and everything, and the singles are nice, but we got to see the clutch, as the runners in scoring position and all that stuff. I don't know, man. I got hope still for now, but I appreciate the time.
You got it, Ross. 888-808-1019. We'll get another call in here before we go to break, but 5 innings of 1-hit baseball, I'll take every time. 5 innings of 2-hit baseball, I'll take every time. Clay Holmes striking out 10, striking out 8, I'll take that every time. With this Mets bullpen, you went Brazoban, Garrett, Stanek tonight. You didn't go Jose Buto. You didn't go Max Kranick. You didn't go Edwin Diaz. Maybe you don't want to go to Edwin Diaz. Like Deadnil Nunez coming back. I think you can work with that formula. If Clay is giving you 5 innings of 1 or 2 hit ball and striking out, I'd be fine with that. in this modern day baseball, as long as you don't get chased off the mound before 5, they'll take 5. They'll take 5. Good enough. Hand the ball over. 888-808-1019. Vinny in Staten Island, on the Fan in New York.
What's up, Keith? How's it going?
It's going. It's already 12.
I know, man. Last time we talked, we were talking about how we could get Ben Simmons out of here. Thank God
that was a highlight of the Nets season. That was the best thing that happened to him. Like, once they got him to disappear, was he with the Clippers now? It's like, all right.
I don't even know, but I don't even care.
I think I wore Nets gear for the like rest of the week after that.
I don't doubt it. But my thing is that about the Yankees. Right now, I know it's still early. Clay Holmes deep in the season. I'd rather him over Rodon right now. I'm so sick of this guy. He's terrible. I don't understand what, like, we keep waiting on Rodon. He's going to make that switch. It's going to come. It just never happens. And this guy, I'm so sick of him. I want him off the Yankees, and he just needs to go.
I mean, we're stuck with him, bro, and they're gonna keep throwing him out there. You know what? Like, we didn't know Clay Holmes would be this. Clay Holmes would be in our bullpen. He wouldn't be a starter. I mean, I guess Jeremy Hefner or really David Stearns had the thought. There's a lot of pitchers that I would take over Carlos Rodon right now, just because, like, he's a tough watch because of his attitude. Right, because of the facial expressions and the poutiness, and then, like I said, like the woe is me look. Like, that ball just went out. I can't believe it. I saw it coming. We all saw it coming. So I don't know. That's why I said I hope they can do something to just.
He's there. The home runs, at home, because everybody said the Yankee Stadium is easy to hit home runs, and it's easy to give them up too, and that's just what he does at home. Thank you, Keith, for having me.
Thanks for the call, Vinny. 888-808-1019. It is what it is, yo. That's like, this guy is paid to be in your rotation. This is a guy that has the stuff to be in the rotation. It is just a mental game. I don't know what they got to do. They got to, like, get Dr. Oz, or not Dr. Oz. What's the thing? I don't even know. Like, what's the guy that, like, they need somebody to hypnotize this dude, bro. Hypnotize this guy. Make him think he's in San Francisco or Chicago. I don't know if he was even good enough there. Just, like, make the situation not as dire. And that's the thing. You're a baseball player, bro. It's early in the season. Why are you getting so mad? I'm like, is he putting on the madness because, like, this is New York? We want our players to care. No. With you, I want to see you be the same. I don't want you hopping off the mound against the rules, the Royals putting your tongue out. I don't want you blowing kisses. Like, just go out there and pitch and be able to weather the storm. There's a defense behind you. There's a bullpen behind you. All right, I'm behind time on breaking. We got to go to the break. Keith McPherson on the Fan. I'll say good morning on the other side. BRB.
All over the place. They want to make him into a starter. He's going to be a big part of this starting rotation. According to Carlos Mendoza in the game, Sinker wasn't there, especially against right-handers. But he did keep him in the game. Stream Boomerang Geo live or on demand with the Odyssey app, and podcast the show wherever you get your podcasts. So, his first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought, because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on her oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Restrictions apply.
Fellow Gen Xers, Elizabeth Banks here. As the original latchkey kids, we took things into our own hands, like house keys and video game controllers. And now it's time for us to do it again, because the recommended age to get vaccinated.
Chat. So let me go back to where we were talking about Goldie, and I was saying I don't know what bro was on. Like, Goldie has been great, and I think I had the screenshot of Goldie. Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt right now, bros. I'll look on the other page, but it's small here. Paul, look at his average. Look at his on base percentage. Like, look at the number of hits he has. In 30 games, he has 22 hits. The power is not there, but that's fine. We got enough guys hitting for power. Goldie has been great. And the thing about Goldie is he's replacing Anthony Rizzo, DJ LeMahieu, Ben Rice a little bit, Oswaldo Cabrera, John Birdie, like that. Him playing first base is a huge upgrade this year, yo. Let's see where we at. I need to get a hair tie. I don't have a fucking hair tie. I think I left the hair tie I had in the car. What do we do with Stroman? Exactly what we did with him. We put him on the IL. And we tell the world his knee is swollen. You put him on the IL and you say, bro, just chill for a minute, bro. You need to miss a start, bro. This is a guy that they shut down at the end of last year. Like, I wouldn't be worried about that. They just did us a solid. I'd love to see Trent in the lineup along. Okay, this is where we're going back to. Do you think Volpe is back in his head again? He's come down to earth a little bit. He might be thinking about the bat. 203 bleachers are nowhere. Facts. That was the way for me for a couple years, bro. It's just not anymore. I'm not mad about it, but like when I come to the game now, I'm not just sitting in the bleachers. And like I have my sister with me. I brought her through for roll call or whatever, but I think I dipped out in like second or third. Would love to see Aaron. Would love to see Aaron and Judge in the same lineup. Are you trolling? You're trolling Will. I think that the Giants should get Travis Hunter as a running back. Are y'all trolling me in this chat? Do you wear jeans to church? I don't go to church. I'm a walk-in church. When Meredith was running the Q&A down in Tampa, she joked and said Ben Rice put on weight in all the right places. Am I right, ladies? Some of y'all gotta chill. I know it's getting late, but like I didn't know where I was going reading that. You just gotta relax. You're right about Goldie, but I feel like at 37 years old, he'd benefit from splitting time. He has split time already. They've had Rice play first base, and Goldie plays 155 games a year. And I want that bat in the lineup because he's not swinging for the fences. He'll slap a single just fine. He'll hit doubles. He's got 22 hits in 30 games. It's a huge upgrade. You can't go find a 30-game sample size from the Yankees in the last couple years where they've gotten that out of first base. You can't. If I'm wrong, send the link. With Rizzo, with DJ, with Oswaldo, with John Birdie. Who else has played first base for the Yankees? You have not had a hitter at first base like we have with Paul Goldschmidt, even at 30, where he doesn't have the power. He's not looking to hit it. I just want to see Rice get a lot of at bats. He is. He is. He's at the top of the order. I think Pete is unlocked because he's paid. And he had the prove it year last year. He's doing it again.
Good morning at 12 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. With the Yankee bats able to bust out in the Bronx. Austin Wells, Ben Rice, Jazz Chisholm, Trent Gershom, they all went deep as the Yankees raced the Royals 4-1. Dave Sims, the call right here on the fan. Carlos Carrasco, terrific, gave a run on one hit. That was a Bobby Witt Jr. home run through 5 innings for his second win. Meanwhile, the Mets finished off the Twins 5-1. Clay Holmes allowed a run over 5 with 8 Ks, followed by 3 arms combining for 4 scoreless innings, a 1-hit ball. Pete Alonso, 2 more hits, including an RBI, while Juan Soto went deep for the first time since March 28th. Not all great news, though. Jose Siri, fractured tibia, not clear how long he'll be out. Giants apparently still doing their due diligence with the draft next week. Shador Sanders reportedly set for a hold a private workout with the Giants on Thursday, and the Rangers able to rally by the Panthers 5-3. 54 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park, and then Saturday. I'm Marco Bellet.
Appreciate you, man. Good morning. Good morning. Hey. Wisconsin Badgers. Well, House of Pain. If you know, you know. Anyway. KM to AM. It is now AM. It is now the 15th. Tax day. Taxes are worse, bro. I remember when I was a kid and I didn't know anything about that. Now I know way too much about it. Now I have a kid. I remember thinking having a kid and claiming that $2,000 on your taxes would do something. It doesn't really do anything. But that's for another time. It's like, bro, more money, more problems. Bring all the problems. Like, you think you can make money in this country without being taxed, boy? You got to give some of that back, boy. Every time. Every time I think I do something cool, man. Every time I think I find a new stream of income or a way to make money, nah. And there's no way to cheat the system. And for those that have thought that they cheated the system in the past, they've had to pay for it. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on that tangent. Now, second game of the series, the Yankees will face Michael Waka Waka, and it's Max Fried on the mound. So we're going in confident. We're going in like, I got to bet Judge the homer. He's so due. Off Michael Waka, for sure. So Michael Waka versus Max Fried. Fried coming back to Yankee Stadium after that masterful performance. He always gets the run support from the Yankees, but like, go out there and shove against this lineup. Cool. And then the Mets will send Tyler McGill out there and his .63 ERA. How are you guys not confident in the Mets rotation right now? So far, very good. Him versus Bailey Ober and his 7.11 ERA. After Byron Buxton struck out 3 times last night, and I don't know, the Minnesota Twins, they're Minnesota nice guys. We're facing the AL Central. They're mid at best. I expect to be here later on tonight talking about a Mets series win and a Yankees series win. 888-808-1019. When the games do go final from last night, we will take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. I think once we get closer to 1, or maybe on the other side of 1, I'll do my tell me something cool. But for now, I want to sprinkle in some things for the people that listen that don't necessarily want to talk about the Mets or the Yankees and aren't as diehard baseball fans, but maybe you are a diehard football fan. We're now less than 10 days away from the NFL draft. And as I'm looking at my ticker and I'm looking at the alerts and stuff on the NFL draft, I told you let's start with the Giants. Smoke screens everywhere, right? Now I hear Kayvon Thibodeau is listed as a trade candidate. Okay. I'm looking at Football Forever, and they had a post with Kayvon, and there was a quote where it says, so this really depends on whether the Giants end up drafting Penn State's Abdul Carter with the number 3 pick. If they do, they might conclude that they're not going to pay Kayvon big money when his contract expires after the season. I don't think they are anyway. Or after 2026, if they pick up his 5th-year option, especially when they've already got huge money committed to defensive end Brian Burns, and defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. It might hurt them in the short term, but a deal could be a long-term help because a player like Thibodeau could bring multiple premium draft picks in return. I don't believe that part. I'm just reading what it's saying. Multiple premium draft picks. I know, and it goes on to say Kayvon is 24, entering the final year of his rookie deal. It's unclear if the Giants will exercise a fifth-year option, which is fully guaranteed and worth $15 million. The deadline to pick up that fifth-year option is May 1st, and acquiring team would have to commit to signing him to an extension. Anyway, what I'm saying is this stuff is coming up now because, and I've said this and other people have said it, drafting Abdul Carter when you just traded for Burns last year and paid him $150 million. You have Dexter Lawrence. You have Kayvon. You went out in free agency and got Chauncey Golston from the Dallas Cowboys. Using that third overall pick, I understand you got to rush the passer, but you need to win games now. Adding Abdul Carter to this defensive line, he's a outside linebacker, DN. Adding him, how many more games does that make the Giants better? Adding him at the third overall pick, how many more games do you win with him rushing the pass? They could run away from you. They could just block the rookie. He might not cut it in camp. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a good player. He is going to cut it. But using your number 3 overall pick, you do not want to be picking that high. You want to pick a player, and it could be Abdul Carter. And this is where I'm going with the smokescreen too. You want to pick a player that makes an impact that you're gonna put on the field for every play you can this year that can get it done, that can do something for you. Like when the Texans took Will Anderson, you knew Will Anderson was coming in and he's gonna start and he's gonna play and he's going to make a difference. I don't know if that happens with this Giants team and Abdul Carter. I think they could draft him and still lose a bunch of games. But if I'm sitting there at number 3 and I'm unsure what I want to do at this point, hell, I didn't know we were going to get Russell Wilson and Jameis. So now I'm not thinking quarterback. Or maybe I am. Stay tuned. Why not create a smokescreen with Brian Dable going to Happy Valley to have lunch with Abdul Carter and the Giants having a private meet? Make a smokescreen that looks like you're taking this kid so that you can take calls on who really needs him. 888-808-1019. There is a team lurking that really needs an edge rusher. There is a team that will give the Giants their first-round pick and maybe a first-round pick next year or more picks in this draft because they got to have Abdul Carter. I don't know what team that is. They might know who it is. It could be because, all right, the Panthers are picking at number 8, and mock drafts have them taking Jalen Walker, the linebacker edge rusher out of Georgia. Abdul Carter is a little taller than him, a little heavier than him, has better numbers than him. It depends. Maybe, scheme-wise, they want Abdul Carter and not this guy. They could trade up from 8 to 3, give you the 8 overall pick, and then who knows, maybe even give you their, I don't know what pick they have. They don't pick till 57 in the second round, but it's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick where you can get crafty and do some things. Because now, as I'm looking at Tankathon, they have the Giants taking Abdul Carter at 3 because of all of this smokescreen stuff. And then they have Jackson Dart going in the second round. I don't think Jackson Dart is going in the second round. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going. They're quarterbacks. I think we will see Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart all taken in the first round. 888-808-1019. Speaking of Shedeur Sanders, are you Shedeur sure you don't want Shedeur in a Giants uniform? Well, Adam Schefter reports, ESPN sources, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders will hold one last private workout. Just give me one more. Let me see one more. How much more do you need to see? You've watched every piece of film. You watched his pro day. You went to his practices during the regular season. Sanders will hold one last private workout Thursday in Boulder, Colorado for a contingent of officials from the New York Giants. Some final intrigue leading into next week's NFL draft in Green Bay. Colorado is also going to retire number 2 and number 12 for Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. They're retiring their jerseys. They have no hardware They have no trophies. They have no championships, no bowl game win. They have nothing. Okay, they played in the Alamo Bowl. They're retiring their jerseys. Dion, prime. Come on now. We're getting these. They're after 2 seasons. They're getting their numbers retired where players can't wear. Come on. I saw that today. I'm like, this has got to be some Dion stuff. This has got to be, they're Showtime. I think I heard, Tiki refer to them as the Kardashians of football. They are not going to Green Bay. They are going to have Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders on campus. They're going to be in like basketball arena. So, probably before the draft, their jerseys are going to go up in the rafters, and they're going to make a big thing of this for, the YouTube channel and everything else in the Colorado Buffalo social media stuff. Anybody can get their jersey retired now. These are college kids. There are, then that's an exercise for us to do. Maybe I'll look into it. Because I got this alert while I was at the game, and this just came to me. Like, are there national, and there definitely are. Let's name some national championship quarterbacks, players that have won a national championship, won a Heisman, gone on to be number 1 picks that don't have their jerseys retired. And I just lied. Travis Hunter has a Heisman trophy. That counts. I said they had no hardware. That counts. And Shador helped him get that Heisman trophy. So I guess you want to retire their jersey for bringing the Heisman to Colorado. I don't know if there's ever been another Colorado Heisman winner. I just thought it was a little much. Anyway, 888-808-1019. And now with the Jets, I'm starting to hear Mason Graham with the Jets. And Mason Graham's comp is Quinnen Williams. So as I'm starting to hear his name come up, really it's been like, it went from Tedero and McMillan because they needed another wide receiver. Then it shifted to Tyler Warren, who can be a wide receiver and blocker. Now it shifted to Armand Membu because they need a blocker. And I told you it's not sexy for 2 different regimes, back-to-back years, to go tackle in the draft. First round, top 10 tackle. But whatever, I understand. You want to shore up the trenches, that offensive line. You're going to be running the ball. To have 2 bookend guys like Olu Fashanu and Armand Membu, I get it. But I just think it's tough to pass on Tyler Warren if he's there. But there are other tight ends in the draft. I will say that. 888-808-1019. Mason Graham scares me only because some of these other guys from Michigan haven't panned out. And maybe it's because I've seen them. The Dallas Cowboys drafted Taco Charlton. Bust. The Cowboys drafted Mozzie Smith, who was a defensive tackle coming out of Michigan. That got a lot of hype like Mason Graham, and was supposed to be this run stopper and an immovable force. But I don't know if Mason Graham is there. Most people have Mason Graham going forward to Mike Vrabel and the Patriots. But if he falls to 7, then yeah, you take him. If he's not there, then I guess you take Armand Membu. But go ahead and take Tyler Warren. It's just going to be the sexy pick. It's just going to be if that is the guy you draft as you're trying to change the culture with the Jets. I've already been going on about this. I want him here. I want to see him. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they feel like, hey, we've got we've got tight ends at home, and we don't want to use a 7th overall pick on a tight end. It's not a position that but I think Tyler Warren has a chance in this NFL to be like the George Kittles, who that's one of his comps. Rob Gronkowski is another one of his comps. Who does he play like? I forget who they said he plays like, but you need tight ends in this league. All the teams that advance, they have these quarterbacks have that safety blanket of a tight end that they could drop the ball off to, whether they throw a screen to him or a little seam pass or a little short yardage pass, like big target, guy that they get matched up, whether it's against a linebacker and they got him with the speed, or a safety and they just got him with the size and power. But what do I know? Draft is coming up. We're wide open for conversation around the NFL draft, around someone just hit me with the appreciate it. Mo, appreciate you. My doctor. I actually got to come see you. I haven't been to the doctor in a while. Nothing wrong with me. I just need the regular checkup. He said Rashawn Salam won the Heisman Trophy in 1994, played for Colorado. That's before my time. Back then, I don't know if I could even read yet. 888-808-1019. Teddy is in Yonkers as we go back to the conversation around the Yanks.
Weeks ago, Rodon is the key to the Yankees' success or failure. That's the bottom line. Cole, forget about it. Gill, forget about it. I'm not counting on him. And Stroman, he's a head case. Rodon is the key. And I'm not sure it's Dr. Phil that you're referring to, who's the psychological doctor. It's Dr. Phil.
But isn't there also Oz the mentalist? But I don't know. I think he does different things.
Oz is more physical. Dr. Phil is the more psychological. Okay? But if you remember the 70s with, I don't know if you remember, you don't remember, Ed Whitson. He came from San Diego. He couldn't pitch in New York. The Ed Whitson syndrome, Keith, when you have a chance, you'll look it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. Keith, that's the key. I'm not getting my blood pressure up anymore because then it'll affect my health. You just mentioned, going to the doctor. You got to get your blood pressure in check. And, when this is the situation. I'm not worried about the offense this year. I am not worried at all, Keith.
Same.
It's the starting pitching. The starting pitching will take us as far to the Red Sea as possible, and then we'll go past the Red Sea that God opened up for the Yankees, and then we'll see where we're going to go from there for the World Series. And that's the bottom line. And then I want to put your quick observation on the Knicks. The Knicks have to beat Detroit. What's your comment on that?
Yeah, they will. I think that we're going to see a different level of compete and a different level of preparation that the Knicks will have with this whole week to prepare for the Detroit Pistons. I've got the Knicks in 6 because I'm just trying to give some respect to Detroit, but not as much respect as everybody else. Thanks for the call, Tate. I'm telling you, bro, some of the takes about this Pistons team, people got to relax. And if you're a Knicks fan, you gotta just realize they're not gonna lose to the Pistons. It may go 6, it may go 5. Just putting respect on Cade Cunningham and what the Pistons have been able to do, and some of their veterans in the mix. Too many people are acting like they're all kids over there. They're not. I did this exercise last week. Dennis Schroeder, Tobias Harris, Isaiah Stewart, Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley. They're not all kids. All of those guys have experience, playoff experience. Cade Cunningham is just still very much a rising star in this league. And here you go, kid. Here's the stage where stars actually become stars. But, the Garden is an advantage. And now that we're doing it, I have it in my notes what I was going to talk about with the Knicks. We'll talk about everything now. Why not? Especially because, C-Mac's going to come on at 2, and it'll probably start baseball again. And, with the Knicks, these guys have been here. They have experience year after year in the playoffs. So does their head coach. And what I was talking about last week as we watched the Knicks lose that game in Little Caesars Arena without OG, without Josh Hart, without Mitchell Robinson, defensively, that is huge right there. Just those 3 guys not playing in that game, throw that last game out. It's not going to look like that. It's not going to look like that. And what I was saying is, Detroit's been waiting for this since 2019. They haven't been in the playoffs. They're geeked up. Cade Cunningham is knocking down threes and pulling the Detroit on his jersey. I don't even know where Cade Cunningham is from. Didn't he go to Oklahoma State? Anyway, he's not from Detroit. He's from Texas. He went to Oklahoma State. But he's out there repping Detroit like he was born off 8 Mile. Anyway, they've got the battery in their back. Their fans were chirping the Landry Shamet. This environment's going to be a hostile environment. You're going to Detroit. It's Detroit versus New York. But I did see, and I sent this call out last week when I was on, that Knicks fans, you need to look into making that trip. It's not going to be that expensive. It's not really that far. You were able to take over Philadelphia. they're going to need you even more in D-Town. And so I saw Knicks Fan TV put out the Detroit Pistons are afraid of New York fans taking over. They're restricting playoff ticket sales on Ticketmaster to residents of Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Ontario, Canada. It's funny too. Obviously, if you think about the surrounding areas, like come on down, come see the new bad boys. If your credit card billing address is outside of those areas, your order will be canceled and refunded. Now, this trick we've seen in multiple places, but that doesn't stop everybody. That's just Ticketmaster. There are multiple ways to get your hands on tickets if you really want to fly to Michigan, stay for a night. And now we also know, I was listening to Al Cintron's show Saturday. He came on after me, and he was pretty much begging Adam Silver for a night game Saturday night. And you guys know if you've been to the Garden, bro, that energy in there, it's a Saturday. People are going to be off. What's the weather about to be like in New York on Saturday? You got your wish, Al. They heard you. People are going to be drinking. Saturday is supposed to go up to 76 degrees, some rain. They play indoors. People are going to be lathered up. People are going to be nice for that 6 p.m. Saturday tip-off, which it ain't starting right at 6. Obviously, the regular season never starts on time. Playoffs, they got to start more on time. But you get what I'm saying. Knicks fans are going to be all over these Pistons players. Let's see what they're about. 888-808-1019. Let's see what they're about. It's funny, man, with, I don't know Ed Whitson much before my time. I barely remember Kayagawa, Kevin Brown, Carl Pavano. But those names have been popping up in this early part of the season with Carlos Rodon. And we can't throw him away. He's ours. But they got to find a way. They got to find a way to get to this guy. I don't know. If it's not Oz the Mentalist or Dr. Phil, maybe he needs to get into Buddhism. Maybe there's a book he could read. Inner Excellence. Go get that Inner Excellence. Something's got to change because it's a long road. It's a long season. And he can do it. It's just one thing that he has to overcome. Adversity. He's got to overcome. Hey, you walk a guy. It's okay. Short memory. That's what he needs. You always hear this, and I used to hear this a lot playing football, playing the quarterback position. Quarterback's got to have a short memory. Next play. You throw an interception. So what? Next play. You fumble the ball. So what? Next play. Play on. You can't let that stay in your head, and then you're thinking about throwing another pick. Then you're thinking about ball security too much where they're coming in there swinging for the ball. On to the next play. He's got to have a short-term memory, or we're going to be dealing with this all season. And like I said, there's a real thing about vibes and energy. When Garrett Cole's on the mound, everybody's like, we're going to win today. Cole day. Cole's on a bump. And that's contagious. That, the team feeds off that. Cole's not available. And it's funny, last year, the conversation was, what version of Carlos Rodon are you going to get this year? And that really did. I mean, Rodon won, and I had a couple calls back about how many games Rodon won last year. Last year's over. This is a complete different year. Get back to being the guy that won those games last year. We've seen you do it. I don't know. It sucks because it's compounded. It's a guy that it's his contract. It's the length of his contract and the amount of money. And let's go back to that. Why did they get him? And I was all for it. I felt like you needed the left-handed pitching. You needed someone else. It couldn't just be Cole. And in the offseason that you signed Judge, all of us were saying, can't just be Judge. Can't just be Judge. We have to add to this team. And it got late, and he was still available, and they punched it for him. 6 years, $162 million. And now, he is needed. He is desperately needed because without Cole, he kind of took Cole's spot. He was the opening day starter. So it's going to turn around to him over and over and over again. And I don't know when, he can stop the bleeding. I don't know when we can just get opening day. It was opening day. But since then, it's just been Yeah, here it comes. Walk the guy. Here it comes. Up, gave up a little single. Up, that pitch was borderline strike 3. Ended up being a ball. He didn't get the strike. He's gonna be pissed off about it. He's gonna be barking at the ump. Enough already. I gave him credit, but people won't give him credit. I gave him credit early on in the season for going deeper in games, saving the bullpen. I gave him credit for controlling his emotions. It seems like that has gone away. The biggest one is the ALCS against the Royals. Struck out the side to start that game. I think I played a clip weeks ago of Austin Wells talking about that was the loudest he had heard Yankee Stadium. That was the craziest experience. He said he had the chills. The place was shaking. Yeah, I was in there. You know why? None of us had that on our bingo card. we have so little hope in Carlos Rodon. We don't think it's possible. We know it's possible for Judge to hit 3 homers in a game. We don't think it's possible for this guy to come out and strike out the side in a postseason. Like it was electric in there because we were like, yeah, this is what we're getting. This is the Carlos Rodon we're about to get. Oh, he hopped off the mat. He stuck his tongue out at him. He's yelling. He's barking at the dugout. That was all premature. That evaporated quick. And things change. Well, here we are again, man. Learn. Just learn from your past mistakes. Learn from your past experiences. Learn to overcome the things that are a little bit out of your control. Balls and strikes. These umps are not your friend. Learn. Like those guys get paid a lot of money to hit the baseball too. Don't leave that pitch up in the zone, bro. You cannot. It's going to leave here. Left-handed hitter in Yankee Stadium. That ball is out. And that's the game. So 888-808-1019. Now we are wide open for conversation around the NFL draft, the Jets and Giants, and the New York Knicks. And I will fill the room with conversation and words and a bunch of things about that as well. So if you want to talk Yanks, Mets, Giants, Jets, and Knicks, we can do so. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Going to take a break right here. Time is burning on me. I'll be right back. Yo, what up, Fleeks? All right. All right, just checking text.
Yo, dude. What's going on, man?
Yo, what up? Are you on after me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
awful.
Oh, that's right. My bad. I already was giving him a plug, so now I got to give you that plug. I'll be sure to do that. I know you don't care, but it's part of my show to.
We also want to help each other.
Yeah, you know how it goes. So my bad on that. I will correct it when we come back.
We do most Knicks. You do any football tonight?
I just tried to plant some seeds, but people want to talk Yankees with me. I had a couple Mets calls about the rotation, about Soto. I just started to talk some Knicks, but like all the calls are coming in Yankees. So you'll have a clear runway if you want to talk Knicks, Pistons.
Yeah, I was thinking we do Giants and Knicks, and then later on doing Mets and Yankees.
Later in the night.
Except, or maybe I might do some Jazz stuff because he's been killing it.
Yeah, it's good to see him come back.
Yeah.
So Gallo is coming up next, not C-Mac. My apologies. Oh, let me see. This chat is full, but I haven't really gotten to it. I I was here, right? Yep. Huge fan. Love the show. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Serious. Rizzo not the same player as Goldie. Facts. Is it me or does sometimes it look like Soto is mad Alonso has been the stud? Yeah. Little bit of like I'm the guy, I'm the highest paid guy, and like this guy keeps coming through, and like you should be happy for your teammates, but he wants to be the guy that is coming through and not Pete. I thought Siri was just a contusion. Not now. Will Boone get tossed? Nah, Boone is off that. He don't get tossed no more. If he will get very pissed, I will. I don't know. Careful with that Judge Homer bet against Waka. He's 1 in 18 lifetime off Waka. That's certainly about to change, perhaps. Will you ever hit the Taco Bell cantina outside of Yankee Stadium? One and done. One and done. I did that one time, never again. I did it when it was first open. And like you could order in the dugout. The cool part about it was that you could go in the dugout, drink your shots and beers, and go get a cheesy gordita crunch. You know, get you a chalupa supreme. But this was years ago. This was like 2018 or 2017, and they ended up shutting the dugout down for like health inspection violations. Never again. Never again. The dugout is good now. Shout out to Smitty and them over there. They're good now. I'm talking about 2017, 2018 when that Taco Bell popped up there. They got shut down because that place was grimy. Shedeur Sanders or Hunter Giants are bugging taking anyone else. Yeah, I'll talk about it when we come back too. Take the over on QBs taken in the first round. Yeah, I think all three of them are gone. And maybe even Jalen Milroe if somebody's really that crazy. Maybe get Rick Pitino to talk to Rodon. How are you this mentally weak? You didn't take a shot. That's a great crossover. I will use that. You're killing it tonight, Bourbon Legend. You must be off that bourbon. That bourbon must be hitting. Let's see. Rodon is a 4-5 inning pitcher. He's a 4-5 in a rotation. Love the gear, man. Push-up check. I ain't doing no push-ups in this gear tonight. Today was leg day. But yeah, I'm out here shining on him. With the pins, boy. Here I go again. Your boy KM on the fan in New York. You heard 888-808-1019. We're talking sports, duh. That's what we do here. You guys never get tired of it either. Anytime I turn on the fan, for the most part, unless it's like the golf show or hello, my name is Craig, which is good. But any other time, I'm like, it don't matter who it is. Mark Malusis, Joe B. Coming up next, Pico de Gallo. My guy Gallo is in here. Yep. Gallo is going to host tonight. Big Mac, newsflash to me. I think I heard some of this that he was going on vacation last week. Big Mac's not in. Did he go to Disney again? I guess I missed that. I don't know. I had to do the whole planning and preparing for my child's second birthday, so I was in a different zone last week. But yeah, stay tuned for Gallo. He's coming in. Big Knicks fan, Mets fan. You guys have probably heard Gallo. And Gallo's a part of the glue here because Gallo does digital stuff, right? But he also can host a little bit. And he's got a very distinct voice. I think the voice is so important. Some guys you either love or hate their voice. Or you might just be indifferent or whatever. I get messages from people all the time like, love your voice. And I'm flattered. And I use it against my wife. I'm like, you have never once said this. Not once. But like my wife is a different type of thing. She hears my voice too much. She needs a break from me, honestly. But we can't take a break because we got a kid. We can't break. There's no more breaks. We did the breaks when we were younger. There's no breaks now. 888-808-1019 in the chat. They're going in the chat. 814 people watching on the live stream. Again, Bourbon Legend with the addition here to the conversation in the chat that breaks through and gets on the radio. He says maybe Rick Pitino can talk to Carlos Rodon. And in quotes, he says, "How are you this mentally weak? You didn't make a shot. Play defense." Adversity is your whole life. Going back to that rant that went viral of, Rick talking to the St. John's Red Storm at halftime or whenever that was. I still got to go and watch the Vice special, and I just don't have the time. But yeah, I would love to know how Aaron Boone speaks to Rodon. In the media, not a bad word, but that they're going to protect him. And that's why I said, kid gloves. Let's not make it worse with our comments. I mean, fans is one thing, but like the manager and even other players, they're not going to make it worse with their comments. I don't know. Do we need to do the Trey Turner, Francisco Lindor, just like overly applaud this man, shower him with love? No, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take for him to just give me 2 starts back to back that are consistent, where you don't unravel, where you don't fold, where you overcome some adversity. A little trouble on the base paths, you work your way out of it. Walk 2 guys in an inning, you don't give up a homer. Keep the ball in the ballpark and figure it out, man. We're rocking with you. We got no choice. You're ours. You're our guy. Mike is in Tom's River on the Fan. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Keith, how's it going, buddy?
It's going. Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, man. Hey, first and foremost, happy birthday to your son.
Thank you. I don't know if you have kids. It's a wild experience. Just even think about where I was 2 years ago. I didn't know anything about babies, kids, and now my son is not even like a baby like that. He's like a little dude. So thank you for that.
Well, it's a wild ride, I'll tell you that. My daughter's coming up on her 21st birthday this summer. So.
God bless you. I can't imagine my son is drinking age.
It lives and enjoy it. And again, happy birthday. But listen, I remember back in '96, we went through the David Cohen aneurysm, and we had to deal with a lot of stuff back then, and the injuries and all this. And I don't know. The offense has been much more balanced, except against left-handed pitching. We need some help there, but Stan's going to be back and DJ's going to come back, but can't really count on DJ a lot. And the whole thing with Stanton is, well, Ben Rice is raking, and I don't know, the whole yeah. You think there's any chance maybe? And I don't want to see it happen, but Rice is an older rookie. Yankees kind of hold their prospects back. Rice could be put in a deal to try to maybe get like a 2 or a 3 starter, like an Eric Fetty from St. Louis or somebody on that level. Yankees need somebody on that level of a guy who can eat up some innings. They got a lot of innings they got to cover here. We talk about Rodon, and the guy can look so dominant and then just throw a couple of bad pitches and it just.
Yeah. You got to give to get. And like, as much as I'm enjoying watching Ben Rice, and I love his story as a kid who grew up in Massachusetts around Red Sox fans, but he was the Yankee fan and he made history last year. You got to give to get. And people are going to ask for Ben Rice. And you should sell high. Right now is the time to sell on him. So like, I'm not opposed to it, but I want more hitters in this lineup, and he's one of the better hitters in this lineup. And like, he didn't get opportunities in the postseason last year because they weren't there for him. He was blocked last year. That won't happen if he's here this year. And I'm not worried about Stan. As of today, Stanton's got bad elbows. He's far away from coming back. And like, you know how Stanton is too. It takes him a minute to get into his swing and his rhythm. Like, I'm not in a rush to get to Stanton striking out when I have Ben Rice drilling home runs and I don't know. These things work themselves out. We'll get there. But like you said, yes, they do need another starting pitcher, and you're going to have to give to get. Thanks for the call, Mike. 888-808-1019. I still think we're a ways away. I was talking to some of the guys today in the bleachers about, Cashman doesn't do deals right now. Nobody's really doing deals right now. It's too early. But like, Cashman waits till the buzzer on the trade deadline because I think he feels like he has the upper hand as the clock is against some of these teams. And like, if they're going to make a move, all of these teams are going to want to weigh all of their options. You think the Marlins are going to take the first? Like, I don't think so. I remember, a couple years back when the Mets traded David Robertson. And I was like, yo, already? You didn't want to hear any other offers, any better offers? Like that was, but it was a way to like shoot the gun off in the air and say, we're open for business. I don't think that's the case with Sandy Alcantara. I don't think that they are going to be in a rush to move him. 888-808-1019. I'm trying to go back to my Twitter because this is something that I did say a lot, and I forgot that I used to say this. But my guy Dre was talking about how you always say the Yankees die hard on their trades and their contracts. So this goes back to what I was talking about with Verdugo versus Grisham, as well as Carlos Rodon. That trade for Alex Verdugo, and let's not forget that Judge specifically wanted him, and Judge was vocal about, oh yeah, we were watching that guy for a couple years. I was hoping that we were able to get. I'm like, all right, Judgy. The Yankees die hard on their trades and their contracts. I did used to say that a lot. It depends on who it is. I think I was saying that a lot with like Aaron Hicks, Josh Donaldson, and then even like they gave Hicks a contract extension. They gave Severino a contract extension. No one told them they had to do that. They tried to get crafty, and you ain't seen that since. You have not seen anyone since those mistakes get extended before the time to try and save a couple million. But with Rodon, yeah, they're going to die hard on that contract. That's what I'm saying. Figure it out with him. He's not going anywhere. As long as he is healthy, he is going to get the ball, and he's got to be better. And for me, what I'm seeing out of Trent Grisham, it's just making me think about like why he can't play left field at all. He has before. He can't play left field at all. I think he can. I've seen him casually run down fly balls in center field. He can definitely play left field. But not to knock Dominguez, right? Because Dominguez is doing his thing now. But this was the conversation in spring where Dominguez was struggling, where I was like, okay, Trent Grisham has the hamstring injury. When he comes back, why don't we put him in left field, see what he looks like? I was like, no, of course not. He's a world-class defensive center fielder. I'm like, I've seen him make some mistakes. He's not world-class. He's pretty good. But I've seen the ball roll up on him. I've seen the ball hit his glove and pop out. But anyway, Verdugo got so much run last year when we had another left-handed outfielder that I think could have played. But they were, and I mean, Trent Grisham dying hard on your trades and contracts. How did Trent Grisham get here? He was part of the Juan Soto trade, but he was the throw-in the trade, right? Smart. I tip my cap to Cashman for that. I know we don't want to give Cashman any credit on anything, but I got to give him credit for that. Trent Grisham has been a very solid piece of this team early on. And with Belly being hurt, you need him. Because Belly, there's another thing too. Oh, Dominguez can't play center field. Because that's what I was trying to see, right? If center field is his true position, put Trent Grisham, the veteran, in left field, make the rookie more comfortable. But hey, I saw Dominguez running in for the ball. I seen Dominguez going back for the ball. I seen Dominguez last night in Yankee Stadium embrace the Martian. The defense was stellar, interstellar. I like what I saw out of Dominguez. 888-808-1019. I was calling for some Knicks fans, and I said that Gallo will definitely talk Knicks. My guy, Mario from Long Beach.
What's going on, Keith?
Doing the show, talking the talk,
Great show as always.
Thanks.
I got a couple things on the Knicks, but first I want to say something about Soto, right? If I may, before the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you see? It got me so angry. Did you see when he didn't run out that ball and what that guy did
Tonight?
Yeah, was it yesterday or the day before? What happened was maybe you didn't see it.
No, I didn't see the game yesterday or Sunday, and I've just seen the highlights. But tell me what happened.
Oh, check this out, man! It got me so angry what Ron Darling said because he's so pro Mets. He wasn't being, wasn't really saying it being fair, So what happened was Soto hit the ground ball up the middle. I think it was a shortstop fielded, right? And Soto's not even running. He's not even jogging. So they got what?
After what Vientos had to deal with for like slowing up and not running through a.
Look at this, Keith. So he holds the ball and he's showing him up because now he's got to start running because otherwise he looks like an idiot because he's not running. And then finally he throws it. He throws him out. And Darling said, "Oh, the Mets should be mad at the infielder for doing that." What about Soto running?
Oh, I gotta go. This was Sunday against the A's. This was Sunday's game against the A's.
It was either this last game, the game before last. Either the last game just happened or the game before that. I'm not really sure. Yeah, one of those two. And then it got me so angry. He never said, "Well, Soto." He just basically said, "Oh, Soto really wasn't one that." He didn't make a big thing of it. Man, you got to run. You're getting $50 million and you're not running.
And you're in a somewhat of a slump. You have to run. You have to hustle. I'm trying to find the clip now.
Yeah, and you know what else is really funny? Later on, a ball was hit down the right field line, right? And it sort of rolled into the field, and the ball boy had to go get it. And Darling said, "Come on, the ball boy's got to run a little faster to go get the ball." So I'm saying, wait a minute, $10 an hour.
Yeah, that's kind of backwards. Soto is in the game, making the most out of any player in any games in the country. They make excuses for him, but the ball boy who's not in the game, making nothing, he's got to hustle harder.
Yeah. Unbelievable how biased.
I'm taking your word for it, man. I got to find the clip of him not running out a ground ball to second and the second or short, wherever it was, and the infielder holding the ball kind of saying, like, "You're going to run?" Because that's unacceptable. And it should have been a bigger story. I should have gotten wind of this, but it's Juan Soto, so not a big story. But when Vientos did it against the Marlins, it was like, yo, he got a talking to from Lindor and Mendoza.
Oh yeah, but he's not Soto, so Soto gets the pass because Soto, right?
He can do no wrong, man. He's the greatest player we've ever seen, the highest paid player in the world. It's only a matter of time. Don't get on the guy when we need him to hit home runs. Don't say anything about him hustling.
No, not at all. Now, quickly transitioning to the Knicks. I like them against Detroit. I didn't realize it's minus 425. They're a big favorite. I know Detroit's a young team.
They should be. That's what I'm saying. People gotta relax with like when we get into the playoffs, you're gonna see it's not the regular season anymore. They have a week to be fresh and prepared for the Pistons. I think it's Knicks in 6. And like that's me giving some respect to Cade Cunningham and the Pistons and their veterans saying, they're not gonna go quietly. They should be able to steal 2 games. It could be honestly 5. It could be gentleman sweep. I think there's gonna. So I'll say like this: Cade Cunningham, he likes to play in the Garden. He's coming here one of these nights, and if he's got a 35, 40-point game, and the Knicks don't have their, combination of Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns and whoever, like maybe there's a game where it's like Cade Cunningham was the best player on the floor. He took over this game. He won, but I think it's going to look a lot different than people realize with OG on him. I just think I think the Knicks defense is going to be able to stop some of what the Pistons can do. I don't know. It's going to be a good series, but I just think the Knicks are the 3 seed, right? All of the hype going into this year was the Knicks are supposed to be going to the Eastern Conference Finals. That the only team in the East that might give them trouble is the Celtics. Now we're afraid of the Detroit Pistons. Come on, Knicks fans.
Yep, exactly. And one last point is, because Evan was saying, I'm saying, it's really not true. That's off the break. He was saying that Cade Cunningham is better than Brunson. There is no way Cade Cunningham is better. They both average 26 a game, but Brunson is shooting better from the field, shooting better from 3 points, less turnovers. And he's got this. Did you hear about this new stat that just started last year called clutch points? He's third in the league in clutch points behind Jokic and Shane Gilgeous-Alexander. He was number 1, but when he hurt his ankle, he fell to number 3. Did you hear about that new?
I have heard about that, and I'm pulling up the StatMuse. They have head-to-head numbers, and Cunningham edges out Brunson in the head-to-head games, but they don't have any playoff games. I don't care about the regular season games. There's so many different circumstances that change these regular season games. The Pistons have beat the Knicks, 3 out of 4. They have Cade Cunningham with 30.8 points per game and Brunson having 28.3. Cade Cunningham having 5 rebounds to Brunson's 2.8, and then Cade Cunningham having 8.3 assists to Brunson's 7.8. I don't think that those are going to apply to the environment that Madison Square Garden will be. The intensity that's going to be played is going to get chippy. Is going to be rough. They're not going to let Cade Cunningham have his way. They're going to lock him down. They're going to force somebody else to beat you. And who's that going to be from the Pistons?
Exactly. So Brunson's the second in the league, and the flip points are the last 5 minutes of the game when the score is not ahead. Neither team is ahead by 5 points or more. Who scores the most points in the last 5 minutes of the game? And Brunson leads the league in that, except for those when he missed those 10 games. There's very few people in this whole league that I'd rather have with 10 seconds to go. Give me the ball.
Exactly. He's a closer, and he will refuse to lose at the end of those games. The Knicks also have a pretty good record in overtime games in the regular season. If there are overtime games, you give them the edge. I just think they're going to be prepared for this team. They're healthy. They're going to be prepared, and they have more experience. They're the big dogs. They're the 3 seed. You're not supposed to lose unless somebody gets hurt. Knock on wood, God forbid. You're not supposed to lose to this team. If you lose a game, even 2 games, whatever. I just think the Knicks can win this series 4-2. Maybe they win it 4-1.
Could be 4-1, but maybe 4-2. Well, I don't know how you feel, but when Brunson went out, it really let Anunoby and Bridges step up so that you could see what they did, because both of them produced very well when
Yeah, what I feel is like that was a mirage, because now Brunson is back and they can't play like that. Like it's going to be Brunson, it's going to be Cat, and then you hope OG can score some. Mikal Bridges got it. You know what? As much as people are talking about what's going to happen to the coach if they fail, the noise is going to get super loud if Mikal Bridges has these single-digit point games. He better be playing defense. There's already people it's funny, right? I think I heard Sal. I didn't hear it. I read a quote card from Sal today, and then somebody else might have been talking about Mikal Bridges checking out of the game after he applies a foul. That's not the first time he's done that. In his Iron Man streak, I think he's got 3 or 4 of those. I saw him do it with Brooklyn. So now it's loud though, because fans aren't in his favor. They're now the season's over. They don't think that streak is cool. Now it's getting loud that he does that because they don't like him. If he comes up small in this first series against the Pistons, which I still think they're going to win, I'm not going to get on his microphone and say they're going to lose. It's going to get loud. And then inevitably, if the Knicks don't advance past that second round, they're gonna have to. Somebody's got to be the whipping boy. Someone's got to have the finger pointed at them. And for what you gave up, for what it cost you to get Mikal Bridges, if he comes up small in these playoffs, people are gonna want him out of here.
Yeah, but I mean, he's very, in that run when those guys were out, he hit that buzzer beater looked like
it was amazing. His celly was on point. I'm like, this is cold blooded. That's what you want in a guy that you give up 5 first-round picks for.
You know what? I really blame the coaching a little bit too, because he's got to get more shots. I think when you got all these guys in there, when does he get a chance to shoot? You got Brunson, you got Cat. You got Anunoby. So he's the 4th option? Well, how do you expect it?
He's got to be efficient. He's got to use that mid-range game. It can't always be a catch-and-shoot 3 or a corner 3. He's got a really good, midi in his bag. Like, he can always get into the paint and find those shots to knock down. He's got to knock them down when he has opportunities to. He's got to be efficient. Thanks for the call, Mario. 888-808-1019. I've got 1 hour left. When we come back, we'll do the Tell Me Something Cool segment. and I'll scan through my notes and figure out what I haven't brought to the table. It's wide open for you to bring something to the table. If you want to talk Yanks, Mets, Giants, Jets, we can do that. Knicks as well. Keith McPherson on the Fan right back after this.
Live or on demand with the Odyssey app and podcast the show wherever you get your podcasts. Thinking of selling your home? Don't just sell out, max out. Sell your home once and get paid twice. Here's how it works. Max Out Homes buys distressed homes at current market value, offering an immediate payment. No delays, no hassle. Once that's done, our team of experts will maximize your home's value and offer you a piece of the profit, whether through renovation, modernization, or resale, or short-term property rentals like Airbnb or long-term property management. We handle it all, and you get a percentage of the profits. For more information, call 800-800-3606. That's 800-800-3606. With Max Out Homes, you don't just sell, you get to profit from our strategy after closing. We buy homes in poor condition, foreclosure, estate sales, homes with reverse mortgages.
All right, yo.
Call 800-800-3606. That's 800-800-3606. Or visit maxouthomes.com. Right now, police are stepping up patrols to make sure drivers and pedestrians obey our crosswalk laws. Why? Because every year in New York...
Yeah, bro. Some of y'all got to go to bed, bro. Shout out to Will getting his sleep, prioritizing his rest. You got to go to bed, bro. What are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about? What are we talking about on a live stream at 1 in the morning, bro? Some of y'all will type anything. Word. Even this. I don't want to be attached to John Heyman, bro. Like, I would have never had him on if I knew that this thing would last this many months. Like, I don't want it to be I don't even bring it up because I don't want to be synonymous with John Heyman, and I don't think he wants to be synonymous with me. That wasn't in the script, bro. I don't care to talk about John Heyman. Sure, it's business. When I say that they die hard on their trades and contracts, a lot of teams do because they feel some type of way about the player on their team that they gave a contract to, the player on their team that they gave up assets for. They will see it through. There's numbers that tell them it's going to work. Yeah, I like Trent Grisham. Good to have him. Especially Belly's, it seems like so far, I don't know how healthy Belly was or wasn't in I gotta send Fleek something right now. I'm tripping. I just went in the room to tell him about it. And I need to get on that right now. Hold on. Okay. Let me forward this right here. All right, I just forwarded it to you, but I think it might come in as Bryce Harper. I think Bryce Harper is the subject, but it's a screen recording that I clipped, and so it's just like we'll play the rejoin music, and then you play that. Like you bring the rejoin music down, then you play it. It's John like, "Hey, Keith, tell me something cool," and then I go into it. All right, let's see. Carlos, what's up, man? Shlomo, Mets need a better closer. You got one of the best closers in the game. I'm gonna talk about it because Emmanuel Clase so far, not what he's been. Devin Williams, not what he's been. No, you can do the full part. Even though we don't use the term fanalist anymore, it's fine. Okay, yeah, and yeah, sure. If you could clip it, that's fine too. Works for me.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. Juan Soto went deep for the first time since March 28th, helping the Mets bounce the Twins 5-1. Pete Alonso remains red hot, 2 more hits and an RBI, while Clay Holmes was brilliant, struck out 8 over 5 innings of one-run baseball. Mets have won 9 of 11, but not all great news. Jose Siri fractured tibia. No timetable for his return. Yankees blasted 4 solo shots while Carlos Carrasco gave them 5 innings of one-run ball as they disposed of the Royals 4-1. Jason Dominguez with a really nice catch in the left field in the 4th inning as the Martian seems to be getting more and more comfortable in the outfield. Now from Yes. Meanwhile, before the game, Aaron Judge was named captain of Team USA in the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Just over a week remaining before the draft, and the Giants apparently still haven't made up their minds on Shedeur Sanders. Reportedly said they have a private workout with Sanders on Thursday, and the Rangers able to rally by the Panthers 5-3. 54 degrees, Fanny Sky at Central Park, and that's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
And I'll take it from there, yep. Yeah, so like the rejoin music, you bring it down, you play that, and then I'll pick it up. Okay. Hey, John. Good to hear from you again, man. This came from @DevilsFanatics. Some I think that's pretty cool. For the first time in NHL history, the Devils have qualified for the Stanley Cup playoffs, while the Rangers, Flyers, Islanders, Penguins, and Bruins have not. But, you know, let's not laugh too much as Devils fans. I was talking to my boy CJ, who's a Yankee fan, Devils fan, and he cracked a joke today, and he's like, yeah, how about those Rangers playoff tickets or lack thereof? Or how about those Rangers playoff games? I'm like, yeah, they won't be in it this year, but the Devils might not win a game. I hate to say it. They have a game tonight against the Bruins, and then there is a game tomorrow against the Red Wings. I may try to tap in for that one. I don't know, though. Why I say that? Because currently the Devils are on a 3-game losing streak on home ice. I know it's regular season. It's not the playoffs. You could say that maybe they know who they're going to face, the Carolina Hurricanes, and, you know, it's done. And, you know, those games wouldn't change it. So it's kind of tough to go out there and really, you know, I don't know. I'm not making excuses for it. It has not been a good look. They lost to the Bruins 7-2 in Newark. And then the Penguins 4-2, and then Sunday the Islanders go in there and they can't score. They lose 1-0, and I'm like, they are limping into these playoffs where most people don't think that they have a chance against the Carolina Hurricanes. They have faced the Carolina Hurricanes so many times and been defeated by them. The last time they were in the playoffs in 2022, we know what happened. Or 2023, we know what happened. I don't know. I'm excited about some Stanley Cup playoffs and some playoff hockey, but at the same time, it'd be nice to see the Devils like win a game here, one of these last two, maybe the one at home, just to give the fans a little bit of faith. But anyway, my sister was with me tonight, and she chimed in. She's like, "See, but like it's always a team that, like, you know, they lose on the way into the playoffs, and the playoffs come and they flip a switch." And I'm like, I'm betting the Devils that first game. They might steal that first game. And if they steal the first game, that could change the entire series. We know the pedigree of the Carolina Hurricanes. I just hate that they're the same colors as the Devils too. Anyway, 888-808-1019. Back to my notes I go. Here's something that came across my desk. Rumors from the NFL. JPA Football writes, Aaron Rodgers' pitch to the Vikings was the idea of making a one-year run at a championship and him being willing to mentor J.J. McCarthy. This is coming from Albert Breer. In the end, faced with all of that, the Vikings found themselves emboldened to give McCarthy the runway to seize the job. The staff the opportunity to build the offense for him and see how that looked at the end of the spring. So the Vikings passed on Rodgers, pushing their chips in on a 22-year-old. Aaron Rodgers is a song that doesn't end, Keith. Why are you bringing Aaron Rodgers back into the conversation? He's not here anymore. We don't have to talk about him. Well, I bring him into the conversation because there was so much conversation on the Jets moving on from him and how that was a mistake and how Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are already messing this thing up. And you go to Justin Fields, you're going to regret. I'm telling you, Aaron Rodgers is done. And anybody that watched those games and watched that field, watch what he did on the field or didn't do on the field and watch that film, will go to a younger quarterback and roll the dice and hope that they can work with him and that this guy's got some athleticism and can make some plays versus a entitled former MVP, future Hall of Famer, but a guy that's past his prime with even making some of the simplest of throws. 888-808-1019. So the Jets are not alone in passing on Aaron Rodgers. The Vikings took a look and said, nah. And the Steelers, it seems like the Steelers are the last team standing. But like as we're getting closer to the draft, like what's the wait? I know Aaron Rodgers probably wanted to go to Minnesota. 2 reasons I would think of. No, not to complete the circle of life with Brett Favre, who I did see there's a new Netflix doc coming out all about Brett Favre. I would watch that. The 2 reasons I think Aaron Rodgers would go to Minnesota are they play indoors. They have a beautiful stadium, a beautiful field. The conditions in there are always whatever they want them to be. Play all your home games in there at 41 going on 42. That'd be excellent. And then number 2 is to stick it to the Packers. I'm sure he's still got an axe to grind. I'm sure he would love to go back to Lambeau and beat them in the Vikings uniform with the rivalry that they have. And I don't think that's going to be a reality. I don't think he's going to get the chance to do so. The Vikings are, I don't know how they're going to, is it Nick Mullins? The Vikings are going to go with J.J. McCarthy, who they used the top pick on last year. And with Kevin O'Connell, he feels like he could turn anybody into something. He turned Josh Dobbs into a quarterback that won his first game, and he didn't even know his teammates' names. I mean, they took a flyer on Daniel Jones. Don't forget about Daniel Jones, too. Daniel Jones has a real good shot to win that job. I don't know what the Colts are going to be, but I think he could beat out Anthony Richardson. But, yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what the Jets do at this 7 overall pick now. I think Tyler Warren is too sexy for them, even though I like the pick. And when I say sexy, pause, like, you know what I mean. It's just like, it's you want your fans to be excited. You want your fans to go out and buy that jersey. I don't know how many of them are buying a 78 Membu jersey. But if you took Tyler Warren and you put on that 44, what? That would go crazy. Membu wears what number? 79? I was off by a number. Wouldn't be a bad pick. Wouldn't be a bad. Then you have your offensive line set and 2 bookends for the next 10 years. I think you could find another guy later in the draft that could possibly be that too. Tyler Warren. It just makes too much sense. Makes too much sense. And I don't think they're going Tetaroa McMillan either. Tankathon has him going to the Dallas Cowboys. If he's there, hell. If he's there, yup. If he's there, punch it. Because they made a mistake last year of not having a number 2 wide receiver to your CD Lamb that, had to hold out through the whole training camp. And, I'm looking at the Giants. Again, my whole thing with the Giants is this pick has to be a gold jacket guy. And I know that's hard to do. But this pick has got to be a talented player that, helps you win now. And I think when you look at Travis Hunter, maybe he could be that because he plays 2 positions. But there's something telling me they want to draft Shedeur. They want to draft Shedeur. Why are they still taking a look? Now, Shedeur doesn't help them win this year, but they can still draft other players that help them win. And you know what? I think a lot of fans would be happy with the Shedeur Sanders pick. A lot would be mad, but you need your quarterback of the future. Daniel Jones was drafted and was here for a long time, and he's gone. There are Giants fans that are like, and I think I heard C-Mac talking about this, and you're absolutely correct. There are Giants fans that are like, what good is it to have these 2 journeyman quarterbacks, these 2 failed barely average NFL quarterbacks in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, and then kick the can down the road another year from drafting and developing your own guy? And I say it's because these guys don't have that luxury. They don't have the time. They don't have the time. And a lot of times we lump them together. There's a reality that exists where the Giants are bad again and Dable is shown the door, but Shane is given more time to draft and develop and really fill out his roster. I mean, if you think about it, how much he's had to do after Gettleman and how much he's gone out of his way almost to let go of players that Gettleman drafted. Maybe he's going to have the opportunity to really, I don't know, keep building this thing, but I wouldn't trust him. I don't know who to trust. Darren Muji, Aaron Glenn, Brian Dable, Joe Shane, nobody. Carlos Rodon, can't trust him. Juan Soto, can't trust him either. Anyway, 888-808-1019. Being in Yankee Stadium tonight, that's another thing that I wanted to just go back to because I did go to my first night game and I did get to get back to the Bronx to being Yankee fans are showing up. So if there's anybody really the internet and even callers, I don't think there's anybody really panicking about this team. Are there issues, concerns? Yes, sure. But there are so many bright spots. Paul Goldschmidt doubled and singled tonight. And somebody in my live chat was talking about how, they're not really sure about Goldie. I'm like, what do you mean? The guy with the highest batting average on the team? The guy that they told us this winter was washed? That they got for $12 million? I'm thinking about maybe bringing Goldie back next year on another 1-year deal already. In 30 games, he's got 22 hits. And he's not looking for the power. He's just looking to get on. He's just looking to get a knock. Good. We have needed that. We have needed that. And when I was talking about Goldie, I'm like, think about what he's replacing. Rizzo, LeMahieu, Cabrera, John Birdie. Who else played first base? That is such a plus. And then on top of it, Ben Rice, Trent Grisham. There are so many pleasant surprises on this team right now. Dominguez, not even the bat, but Dominguez has had some productive at-bats and made a difference a little bit. He's not there yet, but his defense today, pleasantly surprised to see how confident he was tracking the ball, making plays. And even the bullpen. Carlos Carrasco, we want to talk about a pleasant surprise. Carlos Carrasco going out there and doing what he did. So it's there's more good than bad. If you want to be mad, go ahead and be mad. There's so much more good than bad this early on in the season. And now all the games in Major League Baseball have gone final, so I will take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. And if you're on Twitter in the chat and there's, one thing that I need to know from each game, I'll hit you with the scores and I'll hit you with some things that I've seen. I think earlier I was talking about there's 6 teams in Major League Baseball, or 6 players in Major League Baseball that are tied for the league lead in home runs. And Judge was one of them, and Jazz was one of them. And somebody in my chat probably saw it. I literally said, Fernando Tatis is heating up. Fernando Tatis hit his 5th home run, and there's a good chance that he'll hit another home run, and he'll be in this group. Well, I wish I put my money where my mouth was. Called it. Tatis homered in the 3rd inning and the 8th inning as the Padres go on to beat the Cubs, who have been really solid early on this year. The Padres are just rolling. The Padres beat the Cubs 10-4, and Tatis has been balling. Leading off for them, he's hitting .361. He's got 6 homers. Like, Tatis one of my favorite players in the game. He's just all swag, and he's really good. And if you look at the standings right now, as we're talking about the AL East, the Yankees are in first at 9-7. 9-7 would have them in 4th place, where the Arizona Diamondbacks are right now in the NL West. The Padres are at the top of the NL West at 14-3. All right, let me hit the rest of these scores, and I see the calls coming in. We will get to your calls. So that game goes final. The Dodgers defeat the Rockies 5-3. I saw Mookie Betts homered in that game. The Cardinals beat the Astros 8-3. Winning pitcher was Sonny Gray. Remember, Sonny Gray couldn't pitch here like Carlos Rodon. The Brewers, they get smacked by the Tigers. Common opponent that they share, the Yankees. The Tigers beat the Brewers 9-1 for their 10th win of the season. The Blue Jays lose at home to the Atlanta Braves. Don't look now, but here come the Braves. 5 wins. They beat the Blue Jays 8-4. You already know what happened in New York. The Yankees beat the Royals 4-1 out in Minnesota. The Mets beat the Twins 5-1. Down in George M. Steinbrenner Field, the boss, the Tampa Bay Rays, put up 16 runs to defeat the Red Sox 16-1. Who did all the damage there? Caminero, Morel. I don't have the time. 888-808-1019 as we go back to the box scores. I'll take a look at that at another time. Down in Philly, the San Francisco Giants waste no time. They lay the smackdown on the Yanks, and they go right down the turnpike. They put up a 10 spot on the Phillies. They beat the Phillies 10-4. I think I saw Yaz homered in that game. And last but not least, the Pirates put a 10 spot on the Washington Nationals, beat them 10-3. 888-808, you know the number to dial. Dave is in Lakewood. Dave, you got it right now. What's up?
I just want to know, if Cookie Carrasco keeps going how he's going, maybe Will Warren's going bye-bye when Smith comes back?
No, Marcus Stroman is already on the IL, so you put Clark Schmidt right there.
Okay, so when Hill comes back.
We'll cross that road when we get there. When Luis Gil comes back, you would think, I honestly thought that Will Warren was going to be sent down when Clark comes back because he's a young guy with the options. But when Gil comes back, who knows where we'll be? Maybe somebody else will be hurt, knock on wood. Maybe Stroman will just be, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see who's performing well, because they can't afford to send Will Warren away if he's still willing himself to victory and still being serviceable. And they're winning when he's on the mound, so.
Winning when he's on the mound, but not through him.
He's been good enough. They're losing when Rodon is on the mound. I think Will Warren, they've won 2 or 3 of his starts.
Okay.
Thanks for the call, Dave. 888-808-1019. Let me go check on that. And obviously, when you're not going deep into games, it'll be a no decision. Will Warren just got his first win against the Giants over the weekend. Let's see. He's got 1 win, but in Pittsburgh, I think they won that game that he pitched in Pittsburgh. Stats. Let me pull up this schedule here just to make sure that we are correct. There's already too many games. Like, I can't remember these games. There's already too many games. So, yeah, Will Warren pitched on April 6th, and the Yankees lost that game, but to no fault of him. That was, the extra innings game that Sunday, Devin Williams at the end, Tommy Pham. I wouldn't even they battled back. They should have won that game. I can't hold that against the kid. And then on April 1st, they lost to the that's another thing. Perfect. They lost to the Diamondbacks. They should have won that game. You can argue that they should have won all of Will Warren's starts. You can argue that they lost 2 of Will Warren's starts. No fault of his own. Like, you can't, I can't be mad at that kid. They got to do better for that guy. 888-808-1019. Eddie in Rockland on the fan. Go for it, Eddie.
What's up, Keith?
Talking.
You were talking about Rodgers before and what the Steelers are going to do. The Steelers are going after Milrose.
Is that true?
People should open up their eyes to that, especially the Jets, because if the Steelers are going to jump on them in the first round, there's no reason for them not to trade down and target that kid and then work from there.
I don't know. I don't know if you think the Steelers are going to draft Jalen Milroe at 21?
Yep.
I sure do.
And he'll be the 4th quarterback to go in the first 21 picks?
Well, I don't know who's the 4th. Who do you got?
I got Milrose as the 3rd.
Cam Ward 1, Shador Sanders 2, Jackson Dart 3, Milroe 4.
I have Jackson Dart in the first round. He's the 2nd round to me.
He's the 2nd round. I put Riley Leonard in
before him.
Riley Leonard before Jackson Dart?
Yeah. You
should watch him a little bit.
I've watched him play before, and I've watched his film, and there's no rankings that have come out that have put Riley Leonard ahead of.
Here's the prescription for the Jets. The Jets get trade down a little bit, get Matthew Golden, the wide receiver, the speedster, get the Alabama quarterback, and get the Iowa running back, and there you got 80% of the offensive plays into fresh new hands.
No, they're not going to do that. They've got 3 running backs.
You know why they wouldn't do it? Because maybe they'd score more than 20 points a game.
I think they'll have a lot different offensive philosophy and approach. But I don't see them trading back to get Bolden. I don't see them trading back to add another running back that early.
Well, they got to do something, Keith.
They got to put up 24 a game. Everybody's talking defense and Hunter and this guy. The Giants had Burns last year. Their defense was supposed to explode, that off defensive line. You know what it didn't do? It didn't explode.
Thanks for the call, Eddie. 888-808-1019. I mean, you're right. I'm not going to say you're wrong with that, but I just, we start to create these mock drafts and these ideas of what these teams are going to do, and it takes 2 to tango. Usually these trades are complete shocks. And a lot of them sometimes it's like, last year, the Bills trading with the Chiefs for Xavier Worthy, the fastest man in the history of the combine. For the Bills to make that trade to their nemesis, who literally knocked them out again, I don't know, it made no sense. But, that's what they do. And I think they made the trade with the Chiefs so the Chiefs could trade up to get Mahomes once upon a time. It's about relationships. You got to know somebody over there a lot of times to pick up the phone. The running back you were talking about is Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I don't see the Jets going running back. They have 3 running backs unless they trade Breece Hall. And I do not see Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, and I think you should watch him. Jalen Milroe was at the Reese's Senior Bowl with Jackson Dart, with all of those coaches and scouts there. And nobody has Jalen Milroe over Jackson Dart after those practices in that game. Now, just based off of raw talent and speed and strength and like being a potential weapon, I like Jalen Milroe. I do not like using I don't like using a 21 overall pick for the Steelers on Jalen Milroe, who might not be able to complete the ball to DK Metcalf, let alone DK Metcalf and George Pickens. It would be, if that's the case, then Mason Rudolph is going to be your starter, and Jalen Milroe, you're using a first round pick on to be a package guy. You tried that last year, and it didn't work. You tried to have some packages for Justin Fields to come in with Russell Wilson. It didn't work out. I don't think they're doing that. I think the Jets are going to play this safe. I want the sexy pick. I don't think they're trading back. I think they're going to be clapping their hands and excited to bring in the best offensive tackle on the board. That is not Will Campbell. Actually, Will Campbell is the best offensive tackle, but they're going to tell you his arms are too short. I think the Jets will be happy to fortify that offensive line. They plan on running the ball. They've got 4 running backs in Justin Fields, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. They did bring in Stone Smart to join Jeremy Ruckert and Kenny Yeboah. Is Kenny Yeboah still with them? I think so. Yeah. No, he's with the Detroit Lions now. But either way, they have Jeremy Ruckert. They have Stone Smart. They may not think about Tyler Warren the way that a lot of us do. Oh, I got Fleegs here. You know what? Well, let's take a break. It just clicked to me. When we come back, I'll talk to Fleegs about Tyler Warren because he is a Jets fan and a Penn State grad. I don't know if C-Mac got to this at some point last week late in the night, but if not, I'll be the first one to get to it. So 888-808-1019. Keith McPherson on the fan. Last call for calls. I've got 25 minutes left. We will be right back after this. Perfect. It just clicked in my head. I'm like, I know you watched this kid at Penn State. I know you're going to have an opinion on whether you want him to be drafted 7 overall by the Jets. So save it for on air. I'm starving, yo. I got to go home for real. Just text me 1 hour prior. Let me check my schedule here. So my doctor, you know what's great? My primary care physician, my actual doctor, WFAN fan, long before me, I end up, meeting him through my WFAN health insurance, and he's mad cool, Yankee fan, Knicks fan, listens to the fan, knows the history of the fan, and it's cool to have a doctor who's listens to your show, rocks with you. He's the one who texts me about Rashawn Salam. So I'm texting him now about, I gotta come in for a checkup. What's also dope, my podiatrist, my foot doctor, also a WFAN guy, he referred me to, I used to never go to the doctor. I used to never have health insurance. It is cool as hell now to roll into your doctor's office and kind of get preferential treatment because they're fans of the fan. I feel like they take care of me. I feel like they're they got to take care. Gallagher's 2000 ad. What's the issue for the Yankees? Weather. Mostly weather and Carlos Rodon. Weather and Carlos Rodon not being able to weather the storm. Did you watch the Aaron Rodgers Netflix? I watched the first 2 episodes. That was good enough for me to get the idea. Yeah, I watched the first 2. Keith, I heard a guy call a fan and say the Jets are taking the kid from Texas who ran the 3.840. No one ever did that. Don't worry about my bourbon consumption, brother. I said you must be on that bourbon. And you got the John Carlos Stanton in a Irish jersey. Is Stanton's dad Irish? I know his mom is black. Is his dad Irish? You trying to push for him to play for the Irish World Baseball Classic team? What else did I not hit in my notes? I haven't gone back to the weekend. I just feel like it's Tuesday morning now. Why talk about Saturday or Sunday? Ireland doesn't have a team. Ireland doesn't have it. At least they don't have one that's competed in the World Baseball Classic yet. All right, what else? Did I miss anything, bro? Let me see if I missed anything. Padres are 11-0 at Petco Park. They're balling. They can't be stopped right now. Just looking for anything I missed. Okay, I'm back. Thanks for holding. Thanks for waiting. Keith McPherson on the fan for the next 19 minutes, 18 minutes or so. Before we went to break, it just was like the light bulb went off in my head, a eureka moment. I'm like, who's a Penn State fan, Jets fan that watched Tyler Warren play in Happy Valley and could weigh in on his fit with the Jets and if they rather see the Jets go that way. The guy producing the show, Michael Fleeks. Yo, I'll let you take it from here. People know that you went to Penn State. I know you watched Penn State football games and you're a Jets fan. I know you've watched every single Jets game for X amount of years. The Jets are on the clock. At number 7, they select Tyler Warren and
tight end that early, but this is a draft with only 2 great players. So unless you're passing
on a Hunter or a Carter. At that point, getting a good player with the kind of ceiling and complete makeup that Tyler Warren does have, I'm okay with, because you're not passing on, again, a guarantee, a lock at tackle or receiver or one of the positions with maybe more value. So
Yeah.
tight end at 7 is something I could live with more in this draft than compared to some others. I just hope, as a Penn State guy and somebody who is real, I feel like I'm done with the Jets until someone not named Woody Johnson owns the team. Penn State, that he ends up somewhere else. One, because the Jets are one of the worst organizations in the world, and two, what would scare me is that the obvious comparison, the easy one, will be that people from day one will compare Tyler Warren to Brock Bowers, and he will have been taken earlier in his draft than Brock Bowers was last year. Tyler Warren is not Brock Bowers. He's a different kind of tight end. So I would work, because Brock Bowers just broke the rookie receptions record, overall.
Tyler Warren's not doing that.
And they're not going to ask him to do that. Whoever drafts him, they're not going to ask him to do that. He's going to be blocking a lot more. He is a more complete player. He's going to be used in different ways.
Yeah.
But I just think that it would be the gut reaction of most fans who don't know that going in would be to say, oh, well, he's a bust because he's not Brock Bowers. Then you add in the quarterback uncertainty and the overall uncertainty of the Jets. I hope for Tyler Warren's sake that he ends up in a more stable offense, a more stable organization. But if you're the Jets at 7, I don't think you can knock the pick, because, again, as much as I like Membu, like there are not locks at these other positions or guys with the high ceiling that we typically have in the range of the 7th pick of the draft. Warren is about as sure of a thing as you're going to have in this draft.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no locks, but I mean, most people are looking at Tyler Warren and were through his season saying this guy's going to be a really good NFL tight end. I hate when people point to like Kyle Pitts, but I think now Brock Bowers has erased most of that conversation, because it's like Kyle Pitts, coming out of Florida, was all world and whatever, but the situation wasn't correct. Brock Bowers will be connected to the Jets because they didn't go Brock Bowers and they went Olu Fashanu. But also, like, I don't know, I look at that too. That's a Penn State guy that came to the Jets. Him and Tyler Warren know each other. Passing on the tight end last year, it's a different regime. It's not Douglas and Saleh. I don't think that these guys are going to, and Glenn and Muji, I don't think that those guys are going to say, hey, we didn't get the guy last year, because they weren't there. But I do think there will be some interest and intrigue, because Tanner Engstrom was a former tight ends coach, and so was Ben Johnson. I'm trying to go to his, let's see. He was the Detroit Lions tight ends coach and passing game coordinator in 2022. And then he moved up to just passing game coordinator in 2023, 2024, before becoming the offensive coordinator. So this guy has worked with tight ends. He's got an eye for tight ends. And I think that if he is telling Glenn, hey, this is a guy, and if he's telling Muji, like, yeah, we should get a guy like this for our offense, then they might punch it. But also, we saw Sam Laporta in that Lions offense, and Sam Laporta is a guy, they just went back and started showing us, Sam Laporta's like draft stuff. He's just a football guy, and he was coming out of Iowa, and I don't think he was on everybody's radar, but I think they got him 2nd round. He wasn't a first round pick. Sam Laporta was drafted by the Detroit Lions with the 34th overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft. 2nd round. High in the 2nd round. But when you look at, that's another thing I said. They do have Jeremy Ruckert. They do have Stone Smart. If they want to draft a tight end, and you take a look at these tight ends, I like the kid out of Miami, Elijah Arroyo. There's also the Colston Loveland out of Michigan. Like, there's a chance that, you could get a good tight end in a later round. But I still think Tyler Warren is just a sexy pick. I like that he wore number 44 because his pop showed him John Riggins and was like, hey, you're going to run like this when you get the football. I'm like, great to show your child, like, this is who you should model your game after, because they're not looking for him. And John Riggins was drafted by the Jets. I think he was drafted 6 overall. So there's some crossover there. There's some parallel there if you're into that. But I do think that this regime, they've been so quiet and so professional. I think a 7th overall pick for a tight end may be a little bit of a reach, may be too sexy for their blood. And I think Armin Membu is a guy that's, he's 6'5", 332. And there's some people that have him over Will Campbell as their top tackle because of the measurables. And I'm sure they've done their due diligence. It depends, right? This kid is coming out of Missouri. He's going to come to New York. It's going to be a little bit of a culture change, a lot of bit of a culture change. But at the end of the day, he's got to just block and, move guys out of the way. And there's some guys that just come through and do what they do. I'm looking at a mock draft right now, as I mentioned, Elijah Arroyo, that, for the Jets, on the Jets website, that has a picture of him. And in this mock draft, I guess Mel Kiper has it, where they don't go Tyler Warren in the first round, but at pick number 42, they get Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. So that might be it. Let's see. Mel Kiper. Number 7, they go Armand Membu. Membu is powerful and quick, and he started 30 games at right tackle in college. It would make a lot of sense for the Jets to pop him into their lineup there, with Olu Fashanu manning the left side. They signed quarterback Justin Fields, who has the league's 2nd highest sack rate since being drafted in 2021. For this to work, the offensive line has to be good. So, yeah, there's, you got me sold there with how Justin Fields takes sacks. And I think that's more of a product of him trusting his arm strength and his running ability, and having to try and hang in the pocket and make plays with what was the Chicago Bears offensive line. Mel Kiper writes about pick number 42, taken tight end Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. No Tyler Warren for the Jets in round 1, but getting the top offensive tackle in the class in Armin Membu and then landing Arroyo in the 2nd round is a win. Arroyo can stretch the field for Justin Fields at 6'5", 250. No one can cover him. New York could line him up all over and then uncork 50-50 balls for him to haul in. So maybe without me even reading that, I put it out there for them to potentially go and get their tight end in the 2nd round, and maybe he's there. Maybe he's not. Even here, too, as we took the call before about Jackson Dart, Chad Reuter has Jackson Dart going number 7 to the Jets. I don't doubt the Jets believe in Justin Fields, he says, but I also think that won't necessarily preclude them from drafting a QB. Competition between Fields and Dart will help the team figure out if either player can become Gangrene's long-term answer. I don't think you take a quarterback there. I think we still want to see what Jordan Travis is. I think you don't take that quarterback there just so you don't even have an issue with Justin Fields' mental state. This is a guy coming into this situation and being paid like he's the guy. So, like, just let him at least be the guy. And, like, I don't know. If you want to take a later round quarterback, maybe, but definitely let Justin Fields be the guy. And we don't know. The Yankees let Jason Dominguez be the guy in left field, and a lot of us were screaming and crying about that. No, it's not going to work. And I know I said, like, he's going to take his lumps. So far, so good. So far, he's not taking his lumps. So far, he hasn't looked like he's looked in spring training. And that's the thing. Big difference between spring training and the regular season. Bobby is in Mattawan, home of the Huskies on the Fan. What's up, Bobby?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Actually, going back on what you were saying about Dominguez, like, he's, Boone just said on the post game when I just watched the replay of it that he's taking the right lanes or whatever. Dude, you're major. He played center field, and he's not taking That catch he made tonight was luck. You know, like he's not taking the right lane.
And a little athleticism, yeah, to recover. He's still figuring it out. He's still learning left field in Yankee Stadium. But like, yeah, his route was not like a direct route to that ball. That ball kind of almost ate him up, and he got there because he is so fast.
Right, and also too, routine fly balls are looking like, hey, what do I do here? Like, you know what I mean?
I remember there was a snow cone in the first series, I believe, but I got to give him credit for tonight. He was on the run. I'm looking at the highlights now. He even came in for that one that landed right in foul territory, and he was there. You know, there were 42,000 people in there. If he drops one of those, it gets loud. And
there was also a lot of there were routine fly balls that he was going in, and I understand what you're saying, 42,000 people, but every single fly ball was a guess. It was guesswork, you know.
yeah, at least he's guessing better. Thanks for the call, Bobby. 888-808-1019. I'm just not going to take any opportunity to hate on a guy who was flawless out there. We can nitpick, like I said, you know, that one that Salvi hit on it looked like his track, like if they actually were tracking him, he went left, he went back, he went left, and because he's so fast, he was able to get there. But there's the other one where I said where he breaks to foul territory. Well, where he's there, that ball is dropping in foul territory, rather, and he's there. He's in fair territory. He steps over to make the catch. And then the other one in the gap going towards the wall, he got there, and the way he caught the ball was very nonchalant. Where for me, it shows me that okay, all of the work now that we're in the middle of April, and he's had 2 solid months of work, it's paying off. He's gonna get better at it. And yes, Bobby, he was a center fielder, but from what everybody is saying, he wasn't much better at center field than he is in left field. It was a little bit of a journey at times. I didn't see that, but I didn't see him enough. So far, so good. Because if he made mistakes tonight that changed that 4-1 game, where like all the runs tonight were scored off solo shots, a Dominguez era could have changed that game, and it never happened. And they're not messing around too much. Like they take him out, and like with Belly being hurt, you don't really have the flexibility to do that. So he knows, hey, Belly's down again. Like it's go time for me. I gotta be there. When Belly's available, they can put Belly in left and take him out of the game. And I know there's some people moaning and groaning about, oh, you're taking his bat out of the game. He's a defensive liability. But as he's getting better, he's not. And you know what? Like he was interviewed in the post game. He is a whole kid, bro. This is a 22-year-old kid. He said, you know, how his teammates were more happy than they were, right? Routine fly balls, like you said, Bobby, yeah. Out there, he's going and making the catch. This is routine. I'm supposed to make this catch. But he's coming back to his teammates excited for him. Like, good job. Great catch. Way to make the play. Way to be there. Because they watched him struggle and they watched him get ridiculed and they watched people kill him and say that he can't play left field. And here he is playing left field and getting it done. 888-808-1019. Running out of time, but if you'd like to get a call in, you can get a call in. Something that I wanted to put out there for your Brooklyn Nets, as the Nets season is a wrap. And, you know, I feel like if you're a Nets fan like I am, it makes you watch the NBA less. I'm right now sharpening up on the playoff teams. And I was telling one of my homies this. I was like, bro, I'm in a crazy reality. I watched a lot of hockey this year. And you can't be a hockey fan and a NBA fan at like a beyond casual level. I'm like, I think I've become somewhat of a casual basketball fan because the Nets are ass and the Devils exist. And I went to more Devils games this year than I went to Brooklyn Nets games. I don't know what happened to me. I'm like, now I'm legit watching the Four Nations face off. I'm watching Rangers games. I'm watching Islanders games. I'm going to Devils games. I'm not even thinking about going to see the Brooklyn Nets. Well, they didn't need me. The Brooklyn Nets had 25 sellouts in 41 home games. The Nets drew over 7,000 fans this season, the sixth time they'd done so since 2013-2014, according to the Yes Network. They only managed that once in the prior 36 years that they were in the fine state of New Jersey. I remember it like it was yesterday. Me growing up in Jersey, I was mad at Jay-Z. I was mad at Hove moving the Nets to BK. I'm like, I'll never get there now. I could barely get to Continental Airlines Arena. But I understood. And shout out to my wife. I actually got to go back and look. I actually meant to say this to my wife. I think my wife took me, well, she wasn't my wife at the time, but I think she bought the tickets to a playoff game. And I forget the date, but I know it was against the Bulls. I think it was the maybe game 3 was the game before Nate Robinson dropped like 50 on him. And the Nets won. And when I went and saw that game, I'm like, this is why they left. Greener pastures over here. I understand it now. Matt is in Matawan. Another Matawan caller. Before we close it out, you got it, Matt.
Another Matawan. Wow, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, back to back. Bobby from Matawan, Matt from Matawan. You guys didn't time that up together.
Nah, I was totally by mistake, but I love it. How you doing over there?
I'm good. Jersey Shore, holding it down.
Oh, we can't get into the Jersey Shore thing right now because that'll be a different conversation over here. I'm a New York guy, but I spent every single summer of my life down Jersey Shore for 38 years. So that's be over here, and I know this is going to be a hard one because you're a massive Brooklyn Nets fan. I would like you if you could just pretend for a few minutes that you were a New York Knicks fan, all right? So you got your New York Knicks fandom, but you also got the New York Knicks GM side of you. You're the GM of the Knicks. We all know everybody's talking about Thibodeau and all that stuff. It's fresh. Everybody loves them, but everybody knows what's happening. My thing to you is this. You know what they're going through. You know they have no more picks. We know the Bridges stuff. I think Bridges is a great ball.
Go on, you're still there.
Oh, my bad. I heard the noise in the background. I thought I was done.
Happens every time.
Yeah. So my thing to you is this. You're the Knicks GM right now. Obviously, they're not winning the chip this year. Maybe they make a run. You giving Tibbs an extra year or not?
Yes. Yeah. I would add to what Tibbs has to work with, but I can't fire the guy who's been the architect of these teams that have been top seeds, these teams that have won, that have made me a ton of money now winning. Like, I can't get rid of him. Thanks for the call, Matt. I can't get rid of him. I can't blame this season on him and other teams being better. All right, Gallo's coming up next. He's got you. Thanks for listening. I'm out. Yo, that's it. Oh yeah, and I saw what you said about the jersey and with the bar. I've been to that bar before. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. I'll be back tomorrow though. Good night.